talking about not seeing my face at the breakfast table.
No, I won't, George, honest.
Well, this should be interesting. Liz, you tore a hole in the paper.
Yeah, I get to see your face at breakfast, and you get to read the paper. See?
How can I read with a hole in the paper?
Well, read around it.
Oh,
I saved all the little pieces I tore out, and you can read what you missed later.
great.
I'm looking at you through an automobile ad.
Well, what's so funny about that?
The new Nash has blue eyes for headlights. And your ears look like both doors are wide open.
Well, I'm glad you find it amusing. Katie, may I have some more coffee, please?
Certainly, Mr. Cougar. Oh, what happened to the paper? Did the dog get at it?
No, the cat.
I did it, Katie. I had to, because he's always reading at the table and never knows I'm here.
Good for you. I had the same trouble with my first husband, Clarence. One morning, I put an old floor mop in the chair to see if he'd notice the difference.
Did he?
Yes, he complimented me on my new hairdo. Then I did something awful. I set fire to his paper.
Well, that must have burned him up.
Oh, Mrs. Cougar.
That's pretty bad, huh? Well, it's early in the morning.
Well, you're excused.
Hey, look here. A story about my old girlfriend, Myra Ponsonby.
Well, we haven't heard from her in ages. What does she say is new in Lower Slobovia?
There you go again. Just because I went around with her in college, there's no reason to be jealous.
I'm not jealous. I just wish she'd drop dead, that's all.
Liz, you sound so
Well,
bitter.
I am. There isn't room for both of us. What does she say is new in
Well,
Lower
better watch what you
Slobovia?
say, Liz. After all, they're still writing new stories. Just because I went around with her in college, there's no reason to be jealous.
Dear old Myra, I hope. Just wish she'd drop dead, that's all.
She's driving into town from her country place. Liz, you sound so
now
bitter.
that ought to crowd the United Nations office. What does she say is new in Lower
Better watch what you say.
Slobovia?
She has a new imported car. There you go. New stories. Just because I went around with her with black streaks. No reason to be jealous.
Dear old Myra, your hair.
She's driving into town from her country. Now you're really being sassy.
Well, now that ought to crowd the United Nations office. What does she say is new in Lower Slobovia?
She has a new imported car. There you go. New stories. Because I went around yellow with black streaks. No reason to be jealous.
Dear old Myra, your hair. Like
She's driving into town. Now you're really being sassy.
Well, now that ought to crowd the United Nations office. What does she say is new in Lower Slobovia?
She has a new imported car. There you go. New stories. Because I went around yellow with black streaks. No reason to be jealous.
Dear old Myra, your hair.
Minky is coming with her. She's driving into town. Now you're really being sassy.
He doesn't pay attention to anything but his money. The only excitement he gets is going down to the warehouse and running barefoot through his goobers.
Now listen, Liz. Myra...
Oh, Myra Schmyra, Myra this, Myra that. Myra's a wonderful driver. Well, I could be a wonderful driver, too, if I knew how to drive.
Yeah, that would help.
George, give me another lesson.
Oh, no, thank you.
You haven't given me a driving lesson since last May.
I know, and I just stopped shaking this morning.
Well, I wasn't so bad. All I did was forget to turn and went straight. Would have been all right if we weren't on a dead-end street.
Oh, it was such a beautiful car. I miss it. You know, it's still stuck in that house, Liz.
It is?
Yeah?
I'll bet they're the only people in town with a new Hudson in the kitchen. Oh, George, give me another lesson.
No. The answer is no. Absolutely no. Okay, Liz. There isn't much traffic on this back road. I guess you can start driving now.
All right, George. I have a confession to make. While I was waiting for you to come home, I sort of practiced in the driveway.
Oh, good. You remember what you did?
Oh, yes. I turned on the ignition. I pressed the starter button. I shifted into first. I stepped on the gas, and I let out the clutch.
Huh.
Did I forget anything, George?
Not a thing.
That's how much you know. I forgot to open the garage doors.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I said I'd do it, and I'm going through with it. Go ahead and drive.
All right, here I go. I push the starter button like this. George, the starter button's broken.
No, it isn't.
Well, then why doesn't it start?
Push it in long enough, and you'll find out.
But nothing Ow! Why did it get hot?
Because it's the cigarette lighter.
Oh, what a dirty trick. Now, don't tell me. Is this it?
Try it and see.
Okay. Well, must be broken. That was the radio.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to suggest anything radical, but what do you think that little button that says starter is for?
Oh, yes, I'm excited. Here we go. Hooray! It started.
Congratulations.
Why aren't we going?
Well, you forgot a little thing called putting it in gear.
Oh, that.
No!
Am I doing something wrong, George?
Throw out the clutch.
What's the matter with it?
Nothing.
Well, then why should I throw it out?
Step on the clutch. Push it in.
Well, why didn't you say so? My goodness, you get so excited.
I'm not excited.
And what's that white stuff around your mouth?
Just a little foam. Now you have the clutch out and the motor on. Shift into low.
Now, wait a minute. Low is up here, isn't it?
No.
Oh, I know. Down here. Up here?
There's only one place left.
Oh, it's here. There. Now what do I do?
Let the clutch out.
Okay.
Go.
What happened? George, say something.
Wait till I get my head out of the back seat. I think my neck is broken.
You know, this car doesn't work very well.
Start it again. I'll brace myself.
All right. I made it. How am I driving, George?
Fine. Except for one little thing.
What's that?
You're driving on the wrong side of the road.
Well, what's the difference? There aren't any cars coming.
Well, as a favor to me and the insurance company, will you please pull over?
Well, I'd be delighted.
Well, go ahead. Here comes a car. No, wait. Stay on this side. He's going around you.
What a reckless driver. He shouldn't have gone up on two wheels like that.
Liz, let's come to a stop.
All right, what do I do?
Put your hand out. Signal for a stop.
Okay.
Shift into neutral.
Okay.
Liz, you almost hit that tree. Why did you take both hands off the wheel?
You told me to.
I did not.
You did too. You told me to shift with my right hand and signal with my left, and I didn't have any hands left over to steer. What do you think I am, an octopus?
No.
You're making a nervous wreck out of me. Oh, Corey, do you really think I'll pass my driver's license test?
Why not? You had the best teacher in the world, old Professor Cartwright himself.
I promise you won't tell George you helped me.
Oh, I won't let on. I'll tell him my hair suddenly turned white without any reason.
Did I frighten you when I went between those two cars?
Well, I was watching pretty closely.
Well, I'm glad one of us was watching. I had my eyes closed.
Well, you better keep them open when you take your test.
I guess I'll go in now while I have my nerve. Why don't you go get a bite to eat?
Oh, I couldn't eat a thing. I already have something in my mouth.
What?
My heart. Good luck, Liz.
Keep your fingers crossed for me. Let's see now. When you hear a siren, you pull over and let it go by. You can pass a streetcar on the right at 15 miles an hour. I wonder how fast you can pass it on the left.
Yes?
Oh, how do you do? I'd like to get a driver's license, please.
All right. Name, please.
Elizabeth Cougat.
Address.
321 Bundy.
Uh-huh. Race.
Of course not. I don't even have a driver's license.
I think this is going to be one of my bad days. How much do you weigh?
Guess.
285.
Very amusing. 118.
How old are you?
21.
I haven't missed on that one in a long time. You know, it's funny, but there are no women drivers in the United States over 21.
May I have my license now?
Not yet. How tall are you?
Well, what's this got to do with driving? Why are you asking all these questions?
We want to find out what size car you'll wear. How tall?
With heels or in my stocking feet?
Well, what's the difference?
About 3 inches. I'm 5'6" without them.
Yeah. Eyes?
Yes, 2, blue.
Thank you.
And red.
What?
My hair is red. That's the next question, isn't it?
Naturally?
Well, just a little henna rinse now and then.
Well, the fingerprint, and that does it. Give me your right thumb, please.
What for?
I want to hitch a ride home, and mine is tired. I'm going to take your fingerprint.
I don't want to put my thumb in that dirty old ink.
Now, this won't hurt a bit.
No,
Just give me
I
your
don't
right
want
hand
to
and
put
we'll
my
it
thumb in the ink.
ink.
Well, did you get my fingerprint?
Yes. Right on the end of my nose.
What are you laughing at?
I'm happy. This is my last day on this detail. They're moving me over to the homicide squad where things will be nice and peaceful.
Congratulations. Now, may I have my license?
No, let's just test your eyes. Now, I'll hold this white card over your eye and you tell me what you see.
A white card.
No, what do you see out of the other eye?
Nothing.
Why not?
It's closed.
Well, open it! Now, read those letters on the wall over there.
Okay. M-E-N.
Not on the door, on the wall! Oh, never mind. Go ahead on to the driving part of the test. You're not going to pass that.
What makes you so sure?
I know the man who's going to give you the test.
Oh, who is it?
Me.
Oh. I can drive anywhere now, Corey. I got a license.
Well, I'm proud of you, Liz. It certainly didn't take you long.
No. He was very sweet. As soon as he saw how I drove the car around the block, we sort of made a bargain.
How do you mean?
Well, he said he'd give me my license if I'd let him out of the car.
I know how he felt.
You know, there's nothing to driving, Corey. It's simple.
Liz, I think that car is going to turn in front of us.
Where? Oh, my goodness. I can't remember the difference.
Between what?
I can't remember the difference between the clutch and the brake.
Smoke. Are you all right, Liz?
Yes, but the car, it's ruined.
Well, I'll get out and see what the damage is. The other car seems to be all right.
Well, I might have known. Look, it's a dumb woman driver.
You better just sit here in the car, Liz.
Oh, no, I won't. I want to have a word with this character.
But, Liz, it was your fault.
How could it be my fault? I wasn't even looking at her.
Well, watch what you say, then.
I'll be very polite. Pardon me, madam, but do you by any chance happen to be the stupid dame who just smashed into me?
Look, honey, you had plenty of time to stop. When did you get your driver's license? This morning?
No, this afternoon. Why didn't you give a signal?
I did. I know I had my hand out the window. I was drying my nail polish. So there.
Oh, you're too fat anyway.
Oh, if you're going to take that kind of an attitude, I'll just have to get an impartial witness.
All right. We'll ask this kindly old gentleman standing on the corner. Tell me, impartial witness, did you see the accident?
Liz, you know very well I was with you.
Oh, Corey, what's the matter with you?
Well, I've had enough. I've taken your license number. You'll hear from my lawyer and the police. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Fatso.
Oh!
Corey, just look at our car. What's George going to say? The body's all smashed, the fenders are knocked off, and the back of the car's a mess.
Well, maybe you don't have to let George know. If you want me to, I'll call my garage, and they'll fix it for you.
Oh, would you, Corey? You're a pal. Now, you call me as soon as you know how much it'll be. While you're about it, see if they can fix a cracked head.
Well, how did you know the car had a cracked head?
I didn't. I was thinking about me if George finds out.
Is that you, Liv?
Yes, dear.
Did you get your driver's license?
Yes. How'd you know?
Oh, some fella from the bank saw you over there.
Oh.
Well, you're a full-fledged driver.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Oh, put it away.
Mm-hmm.
I was going down and count the fenders. I'd be surprised if I found all 4 of them.
So would I.
Well, you've got to expect a little kidding when you first learn, Liz.
I know. Is dinner ready?
Yeah, not yet. Say, did you see the paper tonight?
No, why?
There was some bad news. Myra Ponsonby's missing.
Oh, really? What was the bad news?
No, I'm serious. She should have been in town this morning, and nobody knows what's happened to her. Minky called the police. He's afraid somebody made off with her.
Well, if somebody made off with her, it serves them right.
Oh, Liz, I'm surprised at you. Myra's very life may be in danger. Minky's offered a reward, $10,000.
Dollars or peanuts?
Very funny. But I don't understand it. She just disappeared into thin air.
Do you mind if we talk about something else?
I even started to worry about you. What made you so late getting home?
Late? Oh, I was just late.
Oh, I thought maybe you'd run into an old friend.
No, it was a stranger.
Honey, you're acting funny, like you've done something wrong.
Me? That's a laugh.
Liz, are you hiding something?
I'll get it. Hello? Oh, I've been waiting for you to call. Just a minute. George, would you get my coat for me? I'm cold.
You're wearing it.
Oh, well, would you hang it in the hall closet for me? I'm warm.
Do you feel all right, Liz?
Yes, I'm fine. Just take it out to the closet like a good boy.
All right.
Thank you. Gee, I'm glad you called.
Oh, Katie,
Yes, sir.
I'm worried about Mrs. Cougat. She's acting so strangely. Katie, if a person you love is in trouble, it isn't wrong to eavesdrop, is it?
Yes, it is.
I knew you'd agree with me.
Well, I won't be any party to this.
Oh, you haven't any idea how guilty I feel. Every time I see a policeman, I almost die.
Police? She must be in trouble.
No, George doesn't know yet, and when he does, murder.
Murder?
Really? Gosh, I didn't think I hit her that hard. The body must be all banged up.
Body?
You know how George felt about that old wreck.
Liz has done away with Myra.
Listen, that wasn't the first time she'd been hit. Did you see all those dents in her trunk?
Oh, no. How could she do it?
And her rear bumper was in pretty bad shape, too.
Oh, poor Myra.
Wasn't it awful? I thought she'd never stop yelling. And all I did was hit her with the front wheels. Yes, I picked up all the parts that fell off and put them in the back seat.
Oh.
Well, thanks for taking care of everything. Now, don't call me again. I'll call you when George isn't around.
Liz.
Yes, George?
Liz, I'm going down and look in the garage.
Oh, no, you mustn't.
I thought so. Is it because of what I'll find down there?
Yes, I didn't want you to know.
Oh, Liz, baby. You're in terrible trouble.
I am?
Yes. And I want you to know that no matter what happened, I'll stick by you.
Well, thanks, George, but aren't you getting a little dramatic about this?
Dramatic?
Yeah, I just smacked her in the back when she wasn't looking.
Liz, you don't know what you're saying. And to think I drove you to this.
Oh, you did not. I drove myself.
Oh, you're just trying to save me. Oh, look. Here comes a policeman.
Well, what do you suppose he wants?
He's after you.
Do you really think so? For a little thing like that?
Little thing? You could get the chair for that.
I could?
Oh.
Gosh, I'm glad I didn't go through a red light.
Look, you go hide in the kitchen, and I'll tell them you've left for Mexico.
Si, senor. I'll go like you told me.
Oh, how can you joke at a time like this?
Mr. Cougat?
Yes?
Sergeant Lewis, Homicide Squad.
You're on the wrong trail, Sergeant. She isn't here. She's gone to Mexico.
Oh, now, just a minute, Mr. Cougat.
She's innocent. She didn't even know Myra Ponsonby. And besides, she's insane. She must be. She married me. We're both insane.
Cougat, don't mind.
Oh, you'll never convict her. I'll fight this in every court of the land.
Mr. Cougat, I just came here to make a routine check. But suppose you tell me what you know about this case. Who is this she you're talking about?
Pardon me, Mrs. Cougat. Who's in the living room?
A policeman, Katie. He came to arrest me.
Arrest you? What for?
For having a little accident this afternoon. My goodness, George acts like I killed somebody. He told me to hide in the kitchen until the police were gone.
Oh, it's certainly wonderful of Mr. Cougat to shield you like this.
I know. I appreciate it, but it just doesn't seem right. I feel so sneaky cowering in the kitchen. Katie, I can't do it.
Now, Mrs. Cougat, don't do anything you'll be sorry for.
I can't help it. I've got to take my medicine. I'm going in there and give myself up.
I think you'd better come along with me, Mr. Cougat. This sounds mighty suspicious.
Wait. Hold everything. I confess. I'm guilty.
Liz!
I can't go on like this, George. I did it, and I've got to pay the penalty. Officer, put the bracelets on me.
Now, Liz, don't say a word until I get a lawyer. They can't prove a thing.
All right, Mrs. Cougat, step up to the desk, and the sergeant will get some information from you.
All right.
Now, what's your name? It's you again.
Oh, hello. How do you like it here in Homicide?
Everything's been dead up till now.
Well, this is a very sweet little jail you have here.
Well, it's not much, but you'll call it home. Now, don't give me any trouble, lady. Just answer my questions. You ready?
I don't like you.
Liz, don't be fresh. This may mean your life.
Oh, George.
Okay, let's get this over with. What's your name?
Elizabeth Cougat.
Address?
321 Bundy.
Age?
21.
How much do you weigh?
118. How much do you weigh?
195.
Age?
32.
Address?
410 Crescent.
What's your name?
Frank Nelson. Say, wait a minute! Who's doing what to who?
Well, she got you that time, Frank. Hey, let me try.
Oh, no. Nobody can do that to me. We'll try it again. What's your name?
Elizabeth Cougat.
Oh, no, that's how you got me last time. You start.
All right. What's your name?
Frank Nelson.
Address?
410 Crescent.
Age?
32.
How much do you weigh?
195. How much do you weigh?
4 pounds.
Age?
85.
Address?
Gettysburg.
What's your name?
Abraham Lincoln.
I knew I
But, Frank, you didn't.
could. I did too.
Oh, yeah? What'd she say?
Yeah.
Now, let me handle this. What's your name?
Elizabeth Cougat. What's your name?
Martin Lewis.
How do you do? This is Frank Nelson.
How do you do?
How do you go? Wait a minute!
Now, please, Liz, let's not make things any worse. You're in deep enough as it is.
Now, Mrs. Cougat, suppose you tell us the whole story of what happened in your own words.
Don't say a word, Liz, until the lawyer gets here.
Oh, what's the difference, George? I was going along Main Street, and there she was right in front of me, and before I could stop myself, I hit her.
Did she cry out?
She yelled her head off.
What did you do with the body?
I had them jack it up and haul it away in a truck.
Didn't it give you goose flesh?
No. Oh, I was a little nervous, but after all, I just got my license.
License? What is this, open season? Now, you listen to me, sister.
Okay, brother.
Don't brother me, sister.
Well, don't sister me, brother.
Hold it. Lewis speaking. What's that? Oh, you found Myra Ponsonby. How's the body? Just say alive. Never mind the whistling. Yeah, I got it. Okay.
How do you like that? She's alive.
Yeah, darn it.
Where'd they find Myra?
She got arrested for speeding through a small town, and the sheriff threw her in jail.
There, George. There's your wonderful driver for you. Put in jail, and all I had was a little wreck.
You had a wreck?
Of course. What did you think? Oh, my goodness. You thought that I killed Myra. Oh!
Oh, what's so funny?
Oh, I can't wait to get the car fixed. That's a wonderful idea.
Liz. For heaven's sakes, put down that book and turn out the light. It's almost 2 o'clock.
I've only got one more chapter to read, George. I got to find out who committed the murder. I'm certain it was the upstairs maid.
No, it wasn't. It was the butler.
Oh, George, why did you tell me?
Yeah, now maybe you'll put out the light.
Oh, all right. George? Are you sure it was the butler?
Yes, I'm positive. Now go to sleep.
Well, the way I had it figured, when the crime was committed, the upstairs maid was downstairs, and the downstairs maid was upstairs. Still, if the upstairs maid had seen the downstairs maid coming up the front stairs, she would have gone down the back stairs. Of course, if the downstairs maid had come up the back stairs when the upstairs maid was coming down, she'd have known the upstairs maid wasn't downstairs. It's too bad they didn't have an elevator.
Honey, believe me, it was the butler. He killed his wife.
Oh. But why did he kill her?
He killed her because she talked too much when he was trying to go to sleep.
Oh. Good night, George.
You have just heard My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning. Also heard in tonight's cast were John Heastand, Ruth Parrott, Frank Nelson, Bea Benaderet, and Herb Vigran. The program was produced and directed by Jess Oppenheimer, who wrote the script with Madeline Pugh and Bob Carroll, Jr. Original music was by Marlon Skiles and was conducted by Wilbur Hatch. And now stay tuned for The Camel Caravan, starring Vaughn Monroe. This is CBS, the Columbia...
The Mutual Broadcasting System, in cooperation with Family Theater Incorporated, presents Laughing into Glory, starring Vincent Price. J. Carroll Nash is your host. More things are wrought by prayer than this world dreams of.
Before we bring you tonight's stars and story, I want to thank everyone who has written to Family Theater these past few weeks. Your letters, wonderful letters from all parts of the country, have been a great encouragement to us in Hollywood because through this program, we want to express a conviction that prayer, family prayer, can help keep our families together and happy. Yes, Family Theater is dedicated to your family, to all families, in the hope that they will always be well and happy, and in the hope that your family will pray together, because a family that prays together stays together.
Bishop.
Oh, Tom, good morning. Glad you could come.
Your note sounded urgent. Bad news, Bishop?
No, quite the contrary. Sit down.
Thank you, Bishop.
Tom, you've always thought a great deal of the church here at Croydon, have you not?
It has a fine reputation.
Yes, the parish is thriving, and the parishioners' generosity is extremely gratifying. Your request for transfer has been received, and I'm happy to say approved. You'll be officially notified next Thursday.
Well, may I ask where I'm being sent, Bishop?
You're being sent here, Tom. You are Croydon's new pastor.
Oh, that's a great honor.
Well, now, is that all you have to say? I thought you'd be delighted.
Oh, yes, I am, of course, but...
But what?
Well, leaving Hookertown, well, Bishop, it's almost like leaving home.
Yet you requested a transfer.
Yes, I requested it. It was part of a bargain.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow you.
Well, perhaps I should start from the beginning. Seems like a long time ago. Remember when you assigned me, Bishop?
Yes, quite well.
You told me not to expect too much. Sometimes a new pastor is not very well received. That was an understatement. I wasn't received at all. When I walked into Hookertown that summer evening, the streets were deserted. I thought it was strange. It was hardly 7 o'clock, yet there wasn't a soul to be seen. Then suddenly, a booming baritone voice, slightly off-key, shattered the silence.
And quite unaccustomed to fear, but of all the most reckless of life or of limb was Abdul Bulbul Amir. Hey, out of my way or I'll bash your brains in.
Well, now,
Step aside, I said. When they wanted a man to
encourage the van, or shout hoolaloo in the rear, or to storm a redoubt, they straightway sent out for Abdul Bulbul Amir.
Hey, that's all right. That's fine, you know what I mean? Where'd you learn that?
Oh, Abdul's an old friend of mine.
He is? Oh, well, you don't say. Well, that's good, you know what I mean? Hey, wait a minute. Where did you meet Abdul?
Well, that's rather a long story. You
see... Who are you?
I'm the new pastor here.
Pastor?
Yes.
Oh. Well, I'm Larry Sloan, you know what I mean?
I'm very happy to meet you, Mr. Sloan.
Yeah, any friend of yours is a friend of mine. How do you do?
How do you do?
I'm fine. Hey, you're okay.
Thanks.
What are you doing out? You shouldn't be outside when I'm on a toot. Everybody keeps away from me, you know what I mean?
Well, I was looking for my church.
Looking for the church? Oh, I know where it is. We'll go find the little old church. That's what we'll do.
I'd appreciate it.
That's all right. I'm glad to do it. And I suppose you think I'm a little disreputable. I suppose you think I'm drunk.
Well,
you're right. I'm petrified.
You drink quite a bit, Mr. Sloan?
Yeah, all the time. It keeps me from having hangovers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, but I can still find that little old church, you know?
I know what you mean.
Well, what do you think of her?
Well, offhand, I'd say it could do with a few repairs.
Oh, well, we did fix it up once. Yeah, I used to be a stonemason. I rebuilt that back wall myself.
Oh? When did you do that?
Oh, about 12 years ago.
Well, I don't mean to sound impetuous, but don't you think it's about time to replace those broken bricks?
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll be glad to see it when you get it finished. Well, I gotta go now. So long. Oh, he could Timothy Irving play euchre or pool, perform on the Spanish guitar.
Sloan.
In fact, quite the cream of the Muscovite.
Sloan. Just a moment. About that wall.
Yeah?
Don't you do any masonry work anymore?
I don't work at all.
Why not?
Well, it interferes with my drinking.
Well, how do you live?
Oh, I get by. I get along fine. I mind my own business. Maybe that's what pastors ought to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sloan.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for showing me the church. Good night.
Night.
When they wanted a man who could offer a hand, who was faithful to friend far and near, well, there was not a doubt he was always about, was Abdul Bulbul Amir.
Hey, what was that?
What? Oh, you mean that, what I was singing?
Yeah.
That's the 6th stanza.
I never heard it before.
You've never heard the 6th stanza? Why, that's the whole key to Abdul's character.
He'd go down the line for his pals, huh?
Never missed.
Well, about that wall.
Yes?
I might be able to offer a hand.
Well, now, that's very gratifying, Sloan. Very gratifying indeed. Sloan arrived next morning with bricks, mortar, and a slight hangover. He said he preferred to go at the job by himself, so I decided to spend the morning in town acquainting myself with the villagers. Main Street was just coming awake. A merchant in white apron was sweeping the sidewalk in front of his store. Oh, good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning.
A fine day, isn't it?
It won't be for long. Woke up with a backache this morning. That means rain.
Are you the proprietor of this store?
Have been for 19 years. Look out. That's where I'm sleeping.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to introduce myself.
Yes, I know. You're the new pastor up at the church. Stand back where you were. I have to sweep there now. Now, when did you get into town?
Last evening.
Think you're going to like it here?
Oh, I'm sure I will.
Well, I hope you're not like that last pastor we had. He was a great one for changing things. Never satisfied. Wanted to repaint the church, put in a garden. Thought money grew on trees. But he was transferred.
Transferred?
That's right. My name's Cromer. Henry Comer.
Oh, I'm glad to know you, Mr. Comer.
Well, you might not be when you get to know me better. I'm a businessman, a conservative, practical businessman. I consider the church my responsibility, and I contribute to its upkeep accordingly. But I don't like extravagance. I think the clergy ought to study a little economics.
Yes. Speaking of the church, Mr. Comer, I noticed last night that the roof...
What's the matter with the roof?
Well, it leaks, what there is of it.
Well, in that case, I'd suggest that you repair it.
I'm afraid it's beyond repair. You see, the beams have caved...
And reinforce them. You certainly don't want the roof caving in on your congregation, now do you?
Exactly. Mr. Comer, that's why
You'll find some 2x4s in the rear of the store. You're welcome to them. As for nails, I feel it my duty to let you have them at wholesale price.
Thank you.
Well, I've enjoyed talking with you. Good day.
Good day, Mr. Comer. After meeting Mr. Comer, I realized that he could stand a sermon on the virtues of generosity and the joy of giving. Across the street on the same corner was another grocery. A bewhiskered gentleman standing in the doorway motioned to me.
Oh, Your Reverence, could I have a word with you?
Why, yes, of course.
My name is Michael Kane, and I own this shop. I saw you talking with Comer across the street, and I feel I should warn you about the man.
Warn me?
Indeed, Your Reverence. Comer's a black-hearted tyrant with not an ounce of compassion in his warped soul.
I take it you gentlemen are competitors.
Competitors? I wouldn't stoop to compete with the likes of him. I run a proper price store, I do, with charge accounts. And Comer trusts no one. So if you're thinking of doing business with him, remember my warning. It'll be pay as you go.
Well, Mr. Comer and I weren't discussing his store. We were talking of another matter.
Oh, and what might that be?
The roof of the church. It's in pretty sorry condition. Perhaps you've noticed.
No, I can't say as I have. As a matter of fact, it looked fine the last time I saw it.
Oh, we could stand a new one, Mr. Kane.
A new roof? Oh, no, I wouldn't advocate that, not at all. It's not so much the money, you understand. It's, I better be getting back to my counter. Good day to you, Reverence.
Good day, Mr. Kane. Repairing the church seemed to be a pretty unpopular project, but suddenly I had an idea. So long as the two grocers were such ardent rivals, why not put this rivalry to good use? I recrossed the street to Comer's store.
Oh, it's you again. Well, did you find the 2x4s all right?
I haven't looked yet, Mr. Comer. I was across the street talking with Mr. Kane.
Kane?
Yes, I told him about the roof.
And what did he have to say?
Well, I suggested a new roof for the church. He didn't approve.
Oh, he didn't. And how would that heathen know the needs of a church? Just let me remind you, I've lived in this parish long before Kane came to Hookertown.
Yes, Mr. Comer.
If I think the church requires a new roof, it should have one. You understand?
Certainly, Mr. Comer.
Matter of fact, the quicker we start, the better. Now, you go get an estimate on the cost and send me the bill. That's all. Good day.
Good day, Mr. Comer. I was on my way back to the church when I noticed some sort of commotion going on in the street. 3 youngsters had another one on the ground and were pounding his head against the curbstone with a great display of enthusiasm. Whoa there. Now, let's break it up. What kind of a fight is this 3 against 1?
Come on, let's get on.
Now, wait. Hold on, boys. Hold on. All right, now, take it easy. They've gone. What's this all about? Here you go. Blow. Now, what's it all about?
Oh, they chase me all the time.
What for?
Oh, 'cause they hate me.
Well, why should they hate you?
On account of I'm adopted.
Oh. What's your name, son?
James.
James what?
Just James.
I see. Here, you better brush yourself off. Where do you live, Jimmy?
Around.
Well, that sounds like an interesting address. You might have a tough time getting your mail.
Well, I better go now. Thanks.
Oh, that's all right. Maybe you can do the same for me sometime.
Oh, well, so long.
Oh, just a minute.
Huh?
I'm going that way, too. Mind if I walk with you?
I guess not.
If you're going as far as the church, why don't you stop in at the rectory?
What for?
A glass of milk, Jimmy, nice and cold.
Milk?
With cookies?
Oh, well,
Take another cake if you like.
Oh, thanks.
Have you ever been here before?
Church? Uh-uh.
Oh, that's too bad. You know, I was thinking of getting some fellas together this summer for ball games. Do you like baseball, Jimmy?
Oh, I sure do. You gonna have to come to church to play ball?
Not necessarily. What's your objection to church?
I don't believe in God.
Oh? Oh. When did you decide that?
A long time ago. They say there's a God, and he looks after people, and he helps them out if they pray. Yeah, well, I prayed, and it don't work.
Well, how do you know it doesn't?
Well, I'm still adopted, ain't I? I haven't got my own father and mother, have I?
I see. You asked God to straighten out an adoption matter.
And he don't do nothing about it.
Look, Jimmy, there's a lot of folks asking favors of the Lord, and they keep him pretty busy, believe me. He hears every prayer. But sometimes God doesn't answer them in the way we'd like to have him.
You mean he didn't want to help me?
Oh, no. I mean that perhaps God wanted you to help yourself. You see, it's this way, Jimmy. Being adopted is really a pretty wonderful thing if you stop and think it over. Now, you take the average baby that's born. His parents have to accept him sight unseen, don't they?
I guess so.
If they want a boy and get a girl instead, there's nothing they can do about it. No way of sending back for another model. But on the other hand, you take someone who's adopted. Now, people have a chance to look him over. They can decide whether they want him or not. So, when someone picks you, Jimmy, you can be sure that you're exactly what they want.
That's not so. Nobody wants me.
Of course they do. Tell me, who takes care of you, Jimmy?
My uncle, Uncle Larry.
Larry Sloan?
Yeah.
Oh, it's you, Sloan. Oh, now, this is what I call a coincidence.
I gotta go into town for more bricks. I got the wall hat. Jimmy, what are you doing here?
Nothing. I'm going now.
How's school been, kid?
All right.
Look, I'm sorry about not seeing you much lately. I've been sick.
You've been drunk. Everybody says so.
Well, maybe so, Jim.
They're always laughing at me and calling me names, all on account of you.
I'm sorry, boy, honest.
Sloan, wait a minute. Sloan! Jimmy stayed around the church with me after that. I got him a room at one of the neighbors. The weeks lengthened into months, and never a word from Sloan. He had disappeared. Where? Well, that was anyone's guess. Gradually, improvements were added to the church, thanks largely to the animosity existing between one Mr. Comer and one Mr. Kane. When it came time to paint the church, I presented my problem to Mr. Kane. Mr. Kane, I was just talking with Mr. Comer in regard to painting the church.
Hey?
It appears that Mr. Comer is dead set against it.
Well, you can hardly expect a scavenger to appreciate a thing of beauty. I say paint the church. And charge it to Michael Kane.
And weeks later, when a new boiler for the basement was needed, I approached Mr. Comer. Mr. Comer, I just spoke to Mr. Kane on the matter of a new boiler for the church.
Yes?
I'm afraid Mr. Kane is rather adamant.
And I'm afraid Mr. Kane is just plain addled. Go ahead, install your boiler. Never let it be said that Henry Comer stands in the way of progress.
Well, our congregation seemed to grow with the church, and I was able now to devote more time to Jimmy. But all my efforts to help him overcome his sense of inferiority met with very little success. He avoided the other youngsters in the village at every turn. And then one day, I put him to whitewashing the fence. Some boys from school came by. I overheard the conversation from the rectory window.
Look at James. Gotta paint the fence.
Oh, go on away.
Well, who adopted you now?
Yeah. And where's Sloan? Drunk again?
Now, why don't you beat it?
Oh, why don't you make it?
You better paint that wall real nice, Jamesy, if you don't want to be boxed with the Bible.
Hey, shut up.
Jimmy,
Yeah?
come over here a minute.
Yeah, what do you want?
I want you to keep painting that wall, Jimmy. I don't want you to leave it.
Yeah, but there's some guys
Never mind those guys. Jim, don't you know the story of Tom Sawyer?
I don't think so.
Well, Tom Sawyer had a problem, just about like yours. Some fellas started razzing him while he was whitewashing the back fence. You know what he did?
What?
He used a little, psychology.
Psychology?
Mm-hmm. You see, Tom figured that as long as he had to do the fence, he might as well. The boys started stopping by the church regularly after that. From there on in, it was easy. We decided to organize a club for sports and outings. We decided to start off with a football field on the lot behind Mr. Comer's store.
Gee, I'm sorry.
I didn't think I could kick that
All
far.
right. Who broke my window? Speak up now.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Comer. I'm afraid I'm to blame.
Oh, you were the one.
Yes.
Kicking a football through people's windows like a common ragamuffin. A man of your station.
I can assure you it wasn't intentional, Mr. Comer. I'll assume all responsibility.
Oh, is that so? And I suppose you'll assume the bill for the broken window.
Well,
Just as I thought. Since your first day in this town, you've seemed determined to change things to your satisfaction. I should like to make it clear to you that you are Hookertown's servant, not its keeper. Frankly, I think you're a born troublemaker. Always have. Now, this particular incident bears me out. Therefore, I'm afraid that I'll be obliged to write to the bishop this week. Good day.
Good day, Mr. Comer. Well, Comer didn't waste any time. 2 days later, I received a letter. The bishop would appreciate my paying a call.
Come in.
Good morning, Bishop.
Well, good morning, Tom. Sit down.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Oh, yes. I have a letter here from a Mr. Comer.
Yes, I thought you would.
It appears that one Mr. Comer is not entirely satisfied with your presence at Hookertown.
I'm aware of that, Bishop.
Mr. Comer informs me that you are continually requesting large sums of money.
Oh, for church improvements, Bishop.
What about the broken window?
Just recently, I thought I might organize a boys' club. And during our football scrimmage, one of the lads happened to boot the ball through Mr. Comer's window.
Must have been quite a boot.
Oh, it was, Bishop. A good 50 yards.
How old is the boy?
Oh, I'd say he was about 14.
Just 14. 50 yards, you say it was?
As pretty a spiral kick as you've ever seen, Bishop.
Well, now, that's truly a feat.
Yeah.
You know, kicking was one of my failings in prep school. I could get accuracy, but no distance. I remember one time... I believe it was the Brookfield game. Yes, it was. Yes, we were behind 13-6, and let me see. We were discussing
a broken window.
Yes, of course. Well, now as pastor of that gang of football players, what do you intend to do about this matter?
Well, I can assure Mr. Comer that there will be no recurrence of this unfortunate incident. We've already decided on another vacant lot quite some distance from Mr. Comer's establishment.
Yes, that would be more fitting. And what about the cost of the window?
Well, if you'll allow me time, Bishop, I'll do my very best to make restitution.
Of course you will. Well, that seems to take care of everything. Just like I always say, there's nothing like a nice, friendly talk to get things ironed out. I'll write a letter to Mr. Comer. You know, oil on the turbulent parochial water.
Was there something further?
No, I guess not, no. Thanks very much for coming. Oh, Tom.
Yes, Bishop?
Stay a moment, if you please. I'd like to hear more about this lad who can kick a football 50 yards.
I was late getting back to the church that night. As I started up the walk to the rectory, I heard someone behind me. Larry Sloan.
I've been away. I've been doing odd jobs on the road. I made a few dollars here. Take it.
Well, what's this for?
Well, I heard what you'd done for Jimmy, and it was swell of you to put him up. I thought maybe I could pay you back something for his keep.
Oh, Jimmy more than earns his own way, Larry. I'm glad to have him around.
Oh, that's fine. How is he?
Oh, he's tip-top. Wouldn't you like to see him?
No, I done enough to him. Just leave things be, huh? Take the dough, and I guess I better be hitting the road. I almost forgot to tell you. I ain't been drinking. Ain't touched a drop since the day I left.
Oh, that's fine, Larry.
That's your Uncle Larry? Hey, Uncle Larry.
Hello, Jimmy.
Yeah, where you been, Uncle Larry? Gosh, I missed you.
Did you, Jimmy?
Hey, I'm sorry about what I said that day. I don't hate you, honest I don't. I've even been praying for you.
Oh, that's real nice of you.
You know, there's one thing that still bothers me. It hasn't been fixed yet. About that wall, Larry.
Well, I'd like to help you, see, but you understand it's...
Are you going back on Abdul?
Abdul? I almost forgot about him. Huh? Look, really, I'm sorry. I just got a blow, that's all.
Oh, you're not leaving?
Yeah, Jimmy, I got a lot of things to do.
Oh, now don't leave, Uncle Larry. Oh, well, you wouldn't want me to go through all that praying again, would you?
Well, it's kind of tough to explain, kid. You see...
This is where you belong, Larry. We want you to stay.
Yeah, that's right, Unc. We want you. Oh, come on. Let's go home.
Home? All right, kid. Let's go home.
Next morning, I stopped by Kane's grocery. I wasn't seeking a contribution for the church this time. This was a rather unusual request. I told him Larry Sloane's story. Would he loan Sloane enough money to start his own masonry? To which Kane replied,
I most certainly would not. Sloane's a worthless tramp, and I can't see how he's ever going to change. Go see Henry Comer. Maybe he can help you out.
Which is precisely what I did. Mr. Comer's answer to my request was rather surprising.
Michael Caine, for the first time in his life, is absolutely right. I wouldn't finance that drunkard for one solitary cent. Good day.
Oh, just one moment, Mr. Comer.
What is it?
Mr. Comer, next week, the spring appointments are coming out. New pastors are assigned to various churches. Others are transferred to different towns.
I'm familiar with the clerical activities of the church.
Well, if a pastor expressed a desire for transfer, the request would be carefully considered.
Oh?
Yes, sometimes the request is granted.
Very interesting.
Mr. Comer, I have a slight suspicion that I've been getting in your hair.
You certainly have. I lost a plate glass window, for one thing, and you practically tricked me into carrying most of the parish expenses. Cain and I are getting wise to you.
Yes. I knew you'd catch up with me sometime. Well, let's say I make a petition for a transfer.
Cain and I would certainly appreciate it.
Would you appreciate it to the extent of getting together and seeing your way clear to help Mr. Sloane financially?
That's a bargain.
Fine. It's a bargain. Well, there it is, Bishop. The whole story.
So that's the reason you asked for a transfer.
A bargain's a bargain.
I see. I can understand how you must feel about Hookertown. But that chapter's over, Tom. Time to turn the page.
I know, but... Croydon, I wonder if I belong here. The parish is wealthy. These people, they don't have the same problems.
People are the same in every place, Tom. Everyone needs the help of God.
I hope I'll be worthy, Bishop.
Of course you will. And you'll be happy here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you the new pastor?
As of this morning, yes, sir.
Well, now, this is a stroke of luck. We should have a talk. We should have a talk right now.
Yes?
My name is Sheridan. I am the owner and president of Sheridan's department store.
Well, I'm very happy to...
Later, please. I should like to warn you about a certain Mr. Walker, one of our druggists here in Croydon. The man has some fool idea about installing chimes in the bell tower. Now, as the church's foremost contributor, I have no intention of tolerating this waste of time and good money. And furthermore,
I would... pardon me, just a minute.
Certainly.
Good morning.
How do you do?
You're the new pastor.
That's right, sir.
Well, I'm very happy to make your acquaintance. My name is Walker.
The gentleman I was telling you about.
Well, Sheridan, I see you didn't waste any time getting down here. If you were as fast on Sunday mornings...
I had no idea that the pastor would be here.
I'll bet.
Now, see here,
Gentlemen,
Walker,
Gentlemen, please. I'm sure we can talk this matter over sensibly. Now, about these chimes...
I tell you, we don't need chimes. It's foolishness.
Well, I appreciate your feeling in the matter. However, Mr. Sheridan, I wonder if you're familiar with the story of Abdul Bulbul Amir?
You know, while I listened to Top Man, I got to thinking. Yes, I was thinking that a happy family is, well, it's the most wonderful thing in the world. Wonderful for mother, father, and children, for the community and for the country. But everybody knows it isn't something that comes just with dreaming. It doesn't come even with planning and working hard. No, because maybe you can honestly say you've given everything to make your family happy. You dreamed, you planned, you worked hard to make your home happy. You gave it all you had. But now you feel, well, now you're afraid that your marriage is going on the rocks. You don't know what's going to happen. And you're not only scared for yourself, you're especially scared because of your children. And you're thinking of calling it quits. You've decided that you tried everything and can't make a go of it. But you're wrong. You're dead wrong. Have you tried everything? Have you tried the simplest and most powerful thing? Prayer. Yes, sincere prayer. Have you tried asking God to help you when the job became too big, too tough? He can help you. So say a prayer. And pray together with your family. Because a family that prays together stays together. Now, this is J. Carroll Nash saying good night and God bless you.
Before saying goodnight, we wish to thank Vincent Price for his performance as Supple. A word of thanks also to Lou Reed for writing tonight's play, and to Max Terre for his music. Mel Williamson directed, and John Ryder produced the program, portions of which were transcribed. Others who appeared in our play tonight were Ralph Moody, Herbert Litton, Don Doolittle, Jack Nestle, Gerald Moore, David McMahon, Joel Davis, Tommy Bernard, and Tommy Cook. Next week, our family theater star will be William Gargan. Your host will be Dennis Morgan. This series of the Family Theater broadcast is made possible by the thousands of you who felt the need for this kind of program, by the Mutual Broadcasting System, which has responded to this need, and by the actors and technicians in the motion picture and radio industries. This program is heard overseas through the facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio Services. Tony Loprano speaking. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
Nothing, Kitty. Nothing at all. I'm just going to cut you open and see if you've got a heart. See, I don't believe you have. And I just want to prove how a body can walk around without one.
Nicky!
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The 13th Floor. And now, Murder at Midnight, Tales of Mystery and Terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Winifred Wolfe is The 13th Floor.
Hotel corridors scare me late at night. They're too long and too creepy. I'm always afraid the walls like big, black, plaster hands are going to close in on me. I wish somebody was around. No, not anybody. Anybody might be Nicky. And his hands aren't made out of plaster. They're bone and they're blood. And they want to choke the breath out of me. I just gotta get down this corridor and close the door behind me. I'll lock it and hide under the covers till I turn on the radio and I hear that switch. It's pulled in a little room. And Nicky's dead, full of hot sparks and his big hands hanging like putty. Then I won't have to be afraid anymore. It's what happened tonight, just now. making the inside of me all curdled and sour and sick. Even if I live a million more days, I won't forget how I came into that lobby. Just like always. I walked over to the desk. Hi, Joe. What's a good word?
Here. Got a rent statement from the hotel. No letters.
Oh. Certainly it's hot out, isn't it? Sort of muggy and sticky. Think it's going to rain?
Maybe.
You don't like me very much, do you?
No, not very much. You'll excuse me, I'm quite busy, Miss Owen.
Hey, you're a fresh little punk. I ought to tell the manager. It's a fine way to treat guests who pay their bills. Don't I always pay my rent on time?
Sure. Why not? $5,000 lasts a while if you take care of it.
Ah, you. Hey, wait a second. Hold that elevator.
Sweet dreams, Miss Owen.
I said hold the elevator a second. What's the idea almost slamming it in my face?
Sorry, Miss Owen.
Yeah, I bet you are. Oh, Mr. Talbot. Good evening.
Good evening.
Sure is hot out, wouldn't you say? I was saying to Joe, muggy and sticky.
Yeah.
I was just at an awful good movie at the Franklin. Tomorrow night they're having Lana Turner. You like Lana Turner?
Very much.
Yeah, me too. A lot of women don't because they're jealous of the way she looks. Me, though, I got blonde hair myself. I was planning to see it tomorrow night. Do you plan to...
Sorry, Miss Owen. I have an appointment tomorrow evening.
You run the elevator, you fresh punk. That's what you're hired for.
Oh, by the way...
Me?
No, Tommy.
Oh, yes, sir.
Will you let me in with your pass key? I forgot mine.
Yeah, sure thing, Mr. Talbot.
Car stopped and I got out. I was glad to get out.
Your floor.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. That's when it began, right there. The light from the elevator looked like a lot of lemonade, only being poured the wrong way, up instead of down. Hey, I remember thinking that. Funny to remember it now. I looked at my watch. It was 2 minutes to midnight. I started down the hall. I'm feeling something's wrong. Don't try to get the jitters for nothing. Everything looked the same. Nothing was any different. My room was at the end of the hall. I took my key out and shoved it in the lock. It didn't open. I kept twisting it and pushing it. Against it with my knee. Then, all of a sudden, I looked up and realized what was wrong. The number on the door was 1307, not 1407. I was on the wrong floor. That was it. That rotten little kid. I'll fix him. I was ready to bet he'd done it on purpose. Then...
Give Nicky a kiss, baby. Aren't you glad to see me? Come on in. I've been waiting for you a long time. I said come in. I'm getting a draft.
Nicky, let go of my arm. You're hurting.
Sorry, baby. Maybe I don't know my own strength, huh?
What do you want? How'd you get in here?
One thing at a time. Don't rush me.
What'd you lock the door for?
I don't like interruptions. You never used to either when you were alone with me. Remember, Kitty?
I don't remember nothing.
Yeah, I know. You got a memory like a faucet. You turn it off and on, off and on. Wonderful. Take me, for instance. I have the kind of a memory you can't turn off. Keeps running all the time. The longer it runs, the hotter it gets. So hot now, Kitty, it'll scald you.
Look, Nicky.
I am looking. You're still a nice-looking number, you know. I always did like the way your waist curves in, how white your neck is.
You didn't come here to tell me how I
look.
look.
Toss your hair over your shoulder like it gets me away. Go ahead, Kitty. Toss your hair back for Nicky.
What are you trying to do, dangle me on a string?
Yeah, you're still a good-looking number. I don't look so hot, though, do I? You think maybe I lost a little weight?
Look, Nicky,
My
please.
face
Let
looks
me...
kind of pasty. That's because you don't get much chance for fresh air, sweating what's left of time away in a death cell.
If I scream, the police will come and get you. If you come near me, I'll
You
scream.
won't scream.
No, come one step closer now.
You won't scream because there's not that much sound left in you. It's all frozen and sticking in your throat like an ice cube. Because you're afraid. You're afraid of me. Try screaming, Kitty. You see? What'd I tell you?
Nicky, I can help you. I can hide you here so they won't find you. Then I can help you get away, Nicky. Anywhere you want, I promise.
I asked you before to kiss me. You still haven't, you know.
No, don't come near me, please.
You used to like it. You never used to wait for me to ask you.
Nicky, no.
Sometimes you used to come over to me without me asking. Oh, what's the matter? Do I look as bad as all that? Oh, you afraid I'll get your pretty dress dirty?
You gotta give me a chance. I can explain.
I know I'm not clean. You know, I crawled for half a mile in the mud until I couldn't hear the dogs chasing me anymore. If I'd known you were going to act like this, I would have said...
You gotta give me a break.
I would have said, Warden, call me a taxi. A nice, clean taxi so I can go see my girl, Kitty Owen. The cheap little squealer who sold me down the river for 5 G's. 5,000 lousy bucks.
Hands off.
Oh, I like to hold your face like this. Such a little face. With big eyes. Big green eyes like a small tiger. Kitty, Kitty. Like a cat. A sly, sneaky cat with long blonde hair. Don't you remember how I used to kiss you like this?
Look at this.
Oh, this.
Okay.
Oh. You act like you do remember.
You remember, too, don't you? You remember how it used to be with us, Nicky? Feel my hair the way it used to. Go on, you like to do it. You said it was soft like silk. Feel my hair, Nicky. You're not mad at me, are you? I said I was sorry. I went crazy. I didn't know what I was doing. I'll help you now, Nicky. Come on, run your fingers through my hair.
You lousy little tramp. Don't make me laugh. You crying, huh? Cat crying crocodile tears. Are you crying because you're sorry for me? You're sorry because sooner or later the cops will catch up with me and drag me back and I'll burn to a crisp in the chair, huh? Or you're crying because you know what I'm going to do to you?
Remember how it used to be with us, Nicky?
I know when I broke out they'd find me, but I wanted to say goodbye to you first. I wanted to kiss you. See if it still did the same things to me. I'll tell you something, Kitty. It'll leave me cold.
That knife. What are you going to do with that knife?
I'm going to cut you open and see if you've got a heart. I don't believe you have. I just want to prove how come a body can walk around without a heart.
No.
Just arms and legs stuck together with nothing to make them run.
I'll get you through this. Do it.
Yeah? What are they going to do? Electrocute me first, then take me out and hang me? What's the difference?
I'll tell you, Nicky, how it was. Just let me tell you. After you held up that jewelry store and the old dame was killed, when they put up the $5,000, I went crazy.
Yeah?
Honest, Nicky, I must have been clear out of my head. I've been sorry ever since, but I figured the cops would get you for it anyway, and then I'd be left with nothing. I didn't have a cent.
So you didn't wait. You turned me in yourself.
But I didn't know what I was doing.
I know what I'm doing. I'm going to kill you, Kitty Owen.
It won't help any.
It'll help me.
Stay away from me.
You know, we prayer sandwich should be good for a laugh.
No, please.
Kitty, 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 like a cat.
No.
Yeah, Kitty, yes. I'm going to kill you.
Following me slow like that, he didn't notice when I backed up to the table, picked up the vase. And after I hit him, he didn't know it then either. He just went down looking surprised. I knew he wouldn't be out long. So I bent over and she out his pocket. He moved and made a funny little noise through his lips. Then I stopped breathing altogether. I was free. The hall was empty, no one around. I started to run down the narrow little corridor to the 13th floor. I pressed the elevator button and I waited. Help, that was the only way I could get it. It seemed like hours instead of seconds. Finally, I heard it coming. I felt like I was standing on hot coals. My insides wouldn't stand still. The hand of the clock above the elevator climbed slowly from 5 to 6 and to 7. I was going crazy to 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. And my heart exploded. My legs were soft, sticky pieces of dough, hardly able to hold my body up. The elevator had stopped. 12. And then went on to 14. Then I remembered it wasn't going to stop. It couldn't stop. Because in this building, there wasn't any 13th floor.
A man from the death house and the girl who betrayed him playing cat and mouse on a floor that doesn't exist. The hand of the elevator indicator did not stop at 13, but the hand of the watch on Kitty's wrist have stopped at 12. All ready for murder at midnight. And now, back to Murder at Midnight and the 13th floor.
13th floor. Yeah, that's where I was. A floor that didn't exist. So how could I get out? How could I get away? What was I going to do? I didn't understand. I didn't understand anything.
Pretty good little slugger, baby.
Nick.
You took so much trouble to unlock the door, you should have taken a little time to lock it again after you.
Don't come after me with that knife. Please, don't. I don't want to die.
You think I did?
Why don't you give me another chance?
What chance did you give me?
Oh!
Well, I didn't think you had that in you. Well, why doesn't somebody come, huh? Maybe it's because there isn't anybody besides us. Posy, huh? Try it again. Go ahead. Try your own again. Maybe you'll have better luck.
He was leaning against the door halfway down the hall, just leaning there and watching me because he knew he had me cornered. But I wasn't cornered. I turned and I ran the other way around the corner and down another hall. I didn't know if I'd really heard him running after me, if it was just the pounding in my head making the noise. I got to the end of the hall, and I stopped out of breath and looked behind. He wasn't there. No sign of him. I sucked in my breath so even that didn't make any sound. And I listened. I listened to nothing at all because it was so quiet. It was so awful quiet I could hear it. The wall I leaned against was big and flat and gray, and the corners jutted out into the hall like dead fingers. I looked to the right side of me, down the corridor. Really, he wasn't there. So I turned my head. I looked up the hall, almost opening the way I'd see him and get it over with instead of this weight. I wasn't there either. I tried to squeeze my shoulder blades into the wall so I could hide, but it was hard and cold. It wouldn't move. Nicky, where are you? For the love of heaven, say something so I'll know where you are. We just keep standing here. I can't see you. Nicky! Nicky, I'm sick. My stomach's sick. So am I. Just make some noise. Nicky, where are you? I found myself back at the elevator again. I knew he was around somewhere. Around one of those corners that were jutting out like dead fingers, waiting. The elevator was coming up again. The hand was up to 11. I had to stop. I pressed the button, threw all my weight against it. And it did. It did. The big door was sliding open, and I was safe.
Going up or down, Kitty Owen? I'll take you wherever you want to go.
Oh, not again. I can't stand.
I'll take you for a ride.
No, I won't go.
Well, didn't you ring me? I heard you ring. Come on. Get in. Just the two of us. We'll go for a ride. Only just one of us will come back. I said get in.
All the time he was talking, I was backing away. And then all of a sudden I saw at a door with a bright red sign that said stairway down. My last chance. I almost leaped to it. I opened the door and I flew down the stairs. Sound that looked like music. Sweet, hot music from a clarinet, because I knew they were taking me down. Faster, faster. I fell a couple of times. I caught myself. I clinging to the bed. It was still there. So I kept running. Suddenly, there I was. I was out on the street again. Now I was really safe. There were always a lot of people in the street. I didn't see any people, just a big policeman with a red face. Boy, he sure looked good to me. Hey, wait a minute.
Now, take it easy, miss. Don't get excited.
Hey, look, Nicky Carstairs, he's in that hotel. He's after me.
Carstairs?
Yeah.
Sure, and who you wanting the kids? It can't be.
Look, he's out, I tell you. I saw him. He wants to kill me.
But Nicky Carstairs is in the death cell. Don't you read the papers?
Say, I'll have you reported. What kind of a cop are you anyway?
What kind of a woman are you without a heart? Just arms and legs stuck together with nothing to make them go.
You're not a policeman. You're Nicky. You're still Nicky. You didn't look like Nicky a second ago. I don't understand. I don't understand.
What's the get-up? How do I look?
Nicky, please, no, not anymore.
I told you we were playing cops and robbers, and this time I'm the cop. And I'm still gonna kill you, Kitty Owen.
It wasn't over yet. I had to run again. My last stronghold. My last hope, the hotel lobby. If there was no one there, I just gave up. I was through. As I ran around the corner, I thought the war had ended all over again because there was confetti coming out of all the windows, so much of it falling. The sidewalks were beginning to look like it had been snowing for a long time. I ran over them like a carpet. I ran with my eyes down and I could see the headlines. Nicky Carstairs in death house, prison. No one had to tell me this. I ran into the lobby to find people, to tell them where he was. There was no one there either. Only Joe at the desk. Joe?
Oh, early that night, Miss Owen. Quite midnight.
Look, Joe, I know you don't like me, but you gotta help me.
Reading the papers about Nicky Carstairs breaking out?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to...
$5,000 should last you a little while if you take care of
Hey,
it.
Joe, he's here. He's in the hotel. He's chasing me.
It's a lot of money. $5,000.
Wants to kill me. You gotta help me.
Sweet dreams, Miss Owen.
He's here. Can't you understand? He's on the 13th floor.
There's no 13th floor in this
He's there. I tell you,
Sweet dreams, Miss Owen.
I know there wasn't any use arguing, and he wouldn't believe me. Even if he did, he wouldn't help me. Didn't like me.
Going up.
No one would believe me. There was only one thing left for me to do. Lock myself in my room on the 14th floor. Stay there until they caught Nicky. I leaned against the back of the car, crouched in a corner. My eyes closed because I was so tired. I was so tired. I kept thinking of a bed, a big white bed, big white sheets to crawl between, and the door that was locked.
Sorry to have to bother you about that passkey, Tommy. I just forgot to pick mine up at the desk.
It's like a glass of cold water had been thrown on top of me. I opened my eyes. That Talbot guy was in the car again. No! Not again. Still. And he was talking about the passkey the way he had before. No, not before either. Because when I looked at my watch, it was still a minute to midnight. Then I suddenly knew. I was so weak with relief I wanted to cry. Yeah, I heard him say it. Sometimes you can see your whole life pass by in just a second. That lifetime I lived in the elevator, all in my head, was sandwiched in between a couple of floors. It never really happened. It was just that I had been dreading it for months, coming back some night, finding Nicky there waiting for me. My mind had invented a 13th floor, when it never was there at all. And the cop and the newspapers that said Nicky was out. All part of it. Of course he wasn't out. I told myself it was all part of it. I never got out of the elevator. I was there all the time. All the time.
Your floor, Miss Owen.
14?
Sure, 14. Ain't that your floor?
You sure this time, aren't you?
What are you talking about this time?
I mean, never mind. 1401. I was on the first floor. I was on the right floor this time. I'm feeling better already. What a fool I've been. Started to walk down the hall. I had a feeling Talbot and the boy in the elevator was watching me. They shut the door and go on.
Say, Mr. Talbot.
Yes?
Did you read about Nicky Carstairs?
No, what?
He escaped. Got out of the death house.
Is that so?
He's on the loose. Good night, Miss Owen.
Yeah. Hotel corridors scare me. They're too long and too creepy. I'm always afraid the walls, like big flat plaster hands, are going to close in. Now I know it was more than just dreading it for weeks. Made me imagine. Nicky was out and after me. Must have known it all along. Had a feeling I wasn't safe. I go to my own room. I'll lock the door and hide under the covers till I hear they found him. Took him back. Till I hear he's dead, I won't have to be afraid anymore. Not anymore.
Give Nicky a kiss, baby. Aren't you glad to see me?
14th floor this time. A floor that does exist. But the hands of the watch on Kitty's wrist still stand at 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when the door marked exit only opens and the clocks strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight. The part of Kitty was played by Ann Shepard, and Paul Mann was Nicky. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. There are those of us who are civilized, and there are those of us who are still savages. We who are civilized have mastered many of the major mysteries of science. We transplant hearts. We walk on the moon. The savages neither read nor write and lead rather chancy lives in jungles and deserts. We who are civilized tend to look down on those who are savages without stopping to think that the savages also feel the same way about us.
What are all those people standing around for?
They are waiting. Waiting for you.
Why? What am I supposed to do?
Perform a miracle.
A miracle? How can I perform a miracle?
You're a god, aren't you?
Oh, no. Definitely not. It's all a mistake.
I am afraid they will never believe you. You had best perform the miracle.
How can I perform a miracle?
You're a god, aren't you?
Our mystery drama,
Oh, no.
The God That Failed,
Definitely
was
not.
written especially
It's all
for
a
the Mystery
mistake.
Theater by
I am
Sam
afraid they will
Dan.
never believe
Stars
you.
Fred Gwynn.
You had best
I'll
perform
be
the
back shortly
miracle.
with Act One.
How can I perform a miracle?
You're a god, aren't you?
Our mystery drama,
Oh, no.
The God That Failed,
Definitely
was
not.
written especially
It's all
for
a
the Mystery
mistake.
Theater by
I am
Sam
afraid they
Dan.
will never
Stars
believe
many
you.
outmoded
You had best
slogans. I'll
perform
be
the
back shortly
miracle.
as I manifest destiny. And the white man.
How can I perform a miracle?
You're a god, aren't you?
Our mystery drama,
Oh, no.
represented the
Definitely not.
power
It's
of
all a
the
mistake.
civilized world. It all has to do with the belief in the digital West. I'll be back shortly. The only one manifest destiny. And the white man. How can I perform a miracle? Like all mystery drama, represented the power of the civilized world. It all has to do with the belief in the digital West. I'll be back shortly. The only one manifest destiny. With the belief in the digital West. The only one.
factories in Alice, sir?
We have places where people gather together to create, yes.
Where is it?
Why, it is just across the road.
What do they make there?
Theresanes.
What are those?
Little bells which the dancing girls wear on their fingers and toes.
Oh.
The most beautiful little bells in the world. Come, you shall hear them for yourself. Did I not tell you of this beauty?
You surely did. Prime Minister, how many people do you have working here?
It depends.
Depends on what?
On who will be here on any given day.
You mean you don't have a steady crew?
Steady?
Permanent. People who show up every day, work a stated number of hours.
Stated by whom?
Well, by agreement. A man agrees to work so many hours per week, in return for which he will
You must excuse me. How can a person agree in advance to work a stated or given number of hours per week?
How? Well, he has to.
But how does he know if the spirit will move him on any particular day?
Mr. Prime Minister, are you putting me on?
Putting you on what?
Look, you got about, 50 men working here now?
Yes.
Well, it appears to me they're all doing the same thing.
Of course.
Well, isn't that a waste of manpower?
How can manpower ever be wasted?
Well, you could have a kind of production line. You see, one fellow could start with a sheet of silver and put it on a form. Another could hammer it. Another could shape it. Another could attach the clapper, and so on.
But which one of them would have made the bell?
Which one? All of them.
It would not work.
Why not? It works in our country.
Does it? By your favor, may we have silence? Now, Mr. Blaisdell, Tipu here has just completed a bell. See how beautiful it looks. And now, Tipu, may we hear it ring? Hear how harmonious? Why? Because Tipu has put the spirit of himself into the bell. But suppose Tipu and Sadhu and Purun and 2 or 3 others had worked on the bell together. They are men of different temperaments, and these conflicts would sound in the bell. The music would not be pure.
All I'm talking about is just a simple production line. It's the way we turn things out. Effectively, efficiently.
But harmoniously? These things that you turn out, do they run perfectly? So many different spirits enter into them, and these different spirits find themselves in conflict. That is why a product will break down, you see.
That's ridiculous.
I am sorry I have offended you.
No. I have offended you. I certainly don't have the right to criticize your customs and beliefs. But it's wrong. Look at all this silver.
Yes. We mine the finest silver in the world here.
And what do you do with it? You waste it on these silly bells. Do you realize there's a shortage of silver in the world?
How unfortunate.
You could export silver and make enough money to transform your entire economy.
Into what?
You could build roads, airports, factories, oil refineries, shopping centers.
For what purpose?
You could modernize your armed forces.
What armed forces?
You mean you have no armed forces?
No.
But that's impossible.
I'm sorry it seems to distress you.
How do you protect yourself against your enemies?
We have no enemies.
How is that possible?
Because we have no roads, airports, factories, oil refineries, or shopping centers that they might want to take from us. Senator, it has been a long day.
Yeah, it sure has.
The sun has begun to depart for his home. May I escort you to your hotel?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Say, listen, tell me, is there anything to do around here at night?
Oh, yes. We have a most fascinating activity. Would you care to join us?
Sure.
Then come along.
Where?
To the temple. We are going there to spend the evening in meditation.
Oh. Why don't I join you there after dinner? Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. How can one possibly hope to arrive at a state of pure meditation on a full stomach?
Everett, listen to me.
Please? I can't hear you very well.
You've just got to listen.
I think we have a bad connection, Blaze.
Yeah, well, we're lucky to have any kind of connection. I can't even begin to describe this country.
I'm so glad you're having a good time.
The next commercial plane, the next civilian plane service won't be for another month.
You want to stay there another month? Why?
Could you divert a military transport?
Are you suggesting we sell military transport planes to a lesser Blaze?
No!
Well, put it all in the report.
I want you to send one to get me out of here.
Don't fall in love with the place, Blaze. I want you back before we reconvene. I need your vote. Now, you just...
Everett? Oh, no.
And here we are.
Yeah. I must say, this official state automobile of yours has seen better days.
But it seems to have found a harmony.
Is that the plane?
Yes. It is the official airplane of the government, and it is at your service.
Yeah, well, no offense, Prime Minister, but it looks as if it's being held together with rubber bands and Scotch tape.
It is being held together by harmony.
Yeah. Do you suppose it could get me to India?
It has never been required to fly that distance.
Does the pilot think he can make it?
I cannot say. I have never tried it.
You?
I am the Secretary of Air.
Mr. Secretary, if you're game, well, let's go. You mean it's all like this?
Yes, Mr. Senator.
Thousands and thousands of square miles of jungle. Virgin forest. Do you know the wealth you've got here? All you have to do is exploit it. I'm sure there's gold in those streams. There's minerals in those mountains. And you know something? I'll wager there's oil, too. Perhaps this country should be developed. Hey, with the proper know-how, you could transform yourselves into one of the richest nations in the world.
Why should we wish to do that?
Because, look, I'll just have to put it to you straight. How long do you folks want to remain ignorant, backwards, and superstitious? How long do you want to fight against progress? I'm sorry I had to put it that way.
You mean it truly, yes?
Yes.
I am sorry to hear that, because it means we are beginning to lose harmony.
What are you talking about?
Listen.
What is it? The engine. Something's wrong with the engine?
The engine seems to have lost its harmony. Yes, the harmony is gone.
Well, do something. We can't crash. Not here. Not in the middle of this jungle.
Harmony. Is that why mechanical things work? And lack of harmony? Is that why they malfunction? It's easy to answer quickly and say no, because that's a reasonable answer. But is it also a satisfactory answer? For a more enlightening answer, we shall need the second act. East meets West, and we're supposed to have the inevitable conflict between them. But why? Obviously, it would seem because their philosophies appear to be so different. But are they really? Could the basic differences merely be matters of rhetoric? Isn't it true that all of us civilized or barbarian, are groping for the answers to the same question.
Do something! The engine, it does not respond.
What's wrong?
There appears to be a complete disharmony.
We're going to crash?
Yes.
Right in the middle of the jungle?
Yes.
No one will ever find us.
That is probably true.
What can we do?
Compose yourself. Try to achieve harmony.
Do something.
Compose yourself. Soon we shall be one with the great unity of the universe.
There's got to be something.
Soon we shall achieve complete serenity.
We're going to hit. We're going to... Where am I? Hey, where am I? Those bells. The little silver bells. You, who are you?
I am Orilla.
You speak English?
English?
Yes, English.
Is that what you call it?
That's what it is.
English. I have never heard it called that.
What do you call it?
Nothing. It is just one of the many tongues we learn at the feet of the master.
The master. Who's he?
The master.
We already established that, but who? Oh, my head. Where am I?
This is my home.
I can't make things out too well just yet. What kind of a place is it?
You would call it a cave.
Yeah? And what would you call it? How did I get here?
They brought you to me.
They?
The hunting party. They saw the great bird fall from the sky.
Oh, now I remember the airplane.
And they said there must be a god inside.
A god?
They were right. There were two, but one was dead.
Marlowe? Marlowe is dead?
The other god is dead.
No, but we're not gods.
Then how is it you fly through the sky inside a large bird?
Look, how do I get out of here? I have to get back to my country.
Your country?
Yes, the United States.
I cannot understand.
It's across the ocean.
Ocean? I do not know that word.
Look, your country here is called Alicer.
Alicer?
Yes, and your prime minister, Mr. Marlowe, the one who you say was killed, was flying me out of here.
Marlowe?
He was flying me to India.
India?
You've never heard of India?
No.
Whatever. Meanwhile, I've got to get out of here.
Why? Is my home not pleasing?
I'm sure it's very nice, yes.
Am I not pleasing?
Well, yes, I would say so. That is, I mean, you are. Actually, you're a very good-looking lady. But I have to go home.
You can never return to the sky.
To my own country.
Where can that be?
Let us say it's beyond the jungle.
But there is nothing beyond the jungle.
I'm afraid you're mistaken.
Everyone knows the jungle is surrounded by the great cobra, and he swallows up all who go beyond the edge of it, even gods.
Surely you can't believe that.
But it is the truth. You must be calm, my lord. Soon you shall be well again, and then we will be married.
What? Married?
Yes. That is why they brought you to me. I am the most worthy. After all, I am the daughter of the master.
You have sent for me, my lord. You must be the master. So I am called. You appear to be an intelligent man. So, let's you and I get down to the nitty-gritty here, Let's do away with this master and my lord business.
I do not understand.
Oh, come on now. none of the voters are around. We can talk off the record.
But, my lord...
Don't try to come on like some hick. Not with me, anyhow.
I cannot follow what my lord is saying.
Who are you trying to kid? You know what it's all about. You speak English, can't you?
This is the sacred language of the gods.
Look, I don't want to get in any deeper.
And the master, who is also the high priest of the tribe, learns it as part of the rites of initiation and teaches it to his own children.
Yeah, well, the point I'm trying to bring out is...
My daughter Aurelia learned it because she will one day become high priestess.
I'm trying to say that you learned it from somebody, and that same somebody must have set you straight about the nature of the world.
No, these were the sacred books. They were found many years ago near the body of a dead god. My great-grandfather, who was master at that time, he learned to unravel the mystery of the language of the gods.
Yeah, sure.
Believe what I say, my lord. There were pictures that made one understand the words.
Okay. What you're telling me is true. Why not? Look, meanwhile, I have my own problems. I have to get home.
Yes. My daughter tells me you say that. Surely even a god must accept the fact that there is no way to go home.
Awake, my lord.
What? What is it?
Our wedding day.
Look, Aurelia.
Come. We must walk hand in hand through the village.
I don't want to get married.
Oh, my lord, I am ugly.
No. I didn't say that.
I do not please you.
The fact is, you are very pleasing.
Then, my lord has no reason not to marry me.
I happen to have... No. Let it go.
We must let all in the village see us, and then we shall be wed.
Look, Aurelia, I don't think we're communicating.
Come. Everyone in the village awaits us. All the unmarried maidens, oh, how they envy me.
I just wish I could explain why never mind.
We will have the ceremony. All the people will follow us as we walk to the home of the master, and he will be awaiting us.
I just wish someone around here had some sense.
Let there be silence. My daughter Aurelia has found favor in the eyes of a god. This is the most blessed day in the history of our people. For her sake, and for love of her, a god shall now live in our village. My lord, I give you my daughter, my most priceless possession.
I still think we should talk this over.
Talk? What is there to say?
Whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell these people the truth.
What truth?
The truth about me.
They already know the truth about you. They know you're a god.
Well, I'm going to put a stop to that nonsense right now. Listen, everybody. My name is Bob Blaisdell. I'm a United States Senator here in Alliser on a fact-finding tour.
There is no point in going on.
I came to get an idea about the natural resources of the country and so forth, and let me say I'm favorably impressed.
You need say no more.
That's what you think. You can see how they're listening to every word I say.
Of course. Because you're a god, they listen with respect. But they have no understanding. In this entire village, only you and I and Aurelia can speak English. I promise you will be quite happy here.
I'm trying to tell you I can't stay.
But you have no choice. It is your fate. Even the gods must accept their destiny.
I happen to know what my destiny is, and it isn't here.
It must be. That is why all your brother gods have sent you to our village.
Please listen to me.
Because they know how much you are needed. You will heal our sick and keep the river from flooding our crops and protect us against the ravages of war with our hostile neighbors.
Let's get something straight. If you think I'm going to spend the rest of my life with a bunch of ignorant, barbarian savages...
My lord, Even a god will behave like just another man on his wedding day. He will speak utter nonsense and dance and shout. And do you know why? It's because he cannot contain his happiness.
In those early years of the European conflict, vague rumors of atrocities had begun. But who could possibly believe in the safety of our homes, that soon there would be ashes of men, women, and children sifting out of the crematoriums? And so I and Norma Shearer, the premier actress of the time at MGM Studios, the two of us did not hate.
Everyman's Theater, written and created by Arch Oboler. Oxidol presents Miss Norma Shearer in a thrilling love story, The Women Stayed at Home, with the special symphonic accompaniment of Wagner's deathless love music, Tristan and Isolde. And here is our writer-creator, Arch Oboler, who will introduce tonight's play.
The scene, a windswept coast. It is night. For once the sea is calm. It waits ominously upon the edge of shore where sits a woman and an old man. For a long time they've sat quietly, but now the woman speaks to the old man, and her words lift out to the sea on the rush of the wind.
Lonely? Yes, I was lonely. And I did what I did because I was lonely. I can tell you. This is a quiet place. My father built here because he and Mother had each other. And they wanted the lonesomeness. The village over there and we away from all the rest. My father wanted it that way. When I was very young, it was all right. I could run with the other children. It was all right. But when I grew older, it was lonely. The sea, the wind, the gulls flying. Is that enough for a girl? Yes. I was very lonely. Father died at sea. A storm. His boat. Then Mother. For the first time, I really was alone. People who have nothing remember the little things they've had, don't they? I remember things so clearly. The way the clouds were one day when the sun went down. A boat that stood out on the horizon and then in a second went under. The way so many of... No. Why talk of that? I'll tell you of John. He came to the village a month after Mother died. He had a pack on his back and a smile that lifted the heart. I met him right where we sit.
Hello, girl.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry if I startled you.
I didn't know that...
Yes, I know. My mother used to say it of me, too. I had to walk like a cat on tiptoe. Ah, it's a pleasant day.
Yes, isn't it?
Where are you from?
That house.
Oh. It's a strange, lonely place to build a house, isn't it?
Yes.
May I tell you my name? It's John Clark.
How do you do?
Would you tell me yours?
Celia Harris.
Celia? There's a name. Yes, from a boat.
What?
Oh, I beg your pardon. It's your name, isn't it? I've no right to use it.
You said a boat?
Yes, my boat. I'm going to make a living at fishing. That's why I came here. And I've got a new boat. Well, not exactly new, and I've been beating out the inside of my head trying to think of a lucky name for it. Celia. Ah, it's a lovely name. Do you mind if I tell you that? You mind?
I didn't mind. I didn't mind anything he told me. The village was so happy the day we married. It's good to remember.
Seal,
Yes, darling.
now's the chance.
What?
To get away from them.
Oh, but John.
Now, quiet. Now, slip easy as a ghost around the corner. Now, come on, run.
Oh, they'll never forgive us. Oh,
Go on now. It's the dancing and the drinking that they're after. Now, come on, faster.
I can't. I can't.
Yes,
Oh,
you can,
really?
Seal. Come on now.
Oh, no, John, no.
What?
I can't. Not another step. Oh, it's beating so. My heart.
My heart.
John,
Oh, I want you.
I'm yours.
Always mine. Always mine.
Always mine. He said that. Always mine. Tell me, how long is always? Is always the moment he held me, and his lips were tight on mine, and his arms held me, and he... No. Why should I ask? I really know. Always with him was that night. Because the next night...
Hands up! Stop! Aye, aye.
Celia, goodbye, darling. I'll be thinking about you. I'll bring a good catch home for you. I'll see you in a fortnight, darling. Just in a
He said that to me. But in a fortnight he was...
dead.
I think it. I can't say it. It's been so long, and yet I can only think it.
Dead.
Do you know what that means?
We have come here to say the last words for the soul of the one whom the sea has taken to the Lord. Goodbye, John Clark. The Lord in his wisdom has buried you in the boundless grave of the ocean. We bow our heads and we weep our tears. We have the memory of you.
Do you know what that meant? I was alone again. Yes, alone again. The widow Clark.
Aye, the widow Clark.
I ran from the village, back up the long path to my house, and all the way it was tearing at me. I was alone again. Alone again. But a new loneliness, a horrible loneliness. When you've had nothing, all right, you know nothing. But I'd known something now. His look, his laugh, his lips, his arms, the crush of his arms. I was alone again. A day and a night. A day and a night. One after the other. An empty day after an empty night. That's what was ahead of me. And that's what I had. An empty day and an empty night. An empty day and an empty night. Over and over and over. And there was no end. There could be no end until there was an end of me. No end to it. Until there was an end of me. And then... I heard it from far down the village. I couldn't quite understand. One of the men waving his arms at me and shouting. War? War? But everybody had said... But wait. If war had come, there'd be something for me to do. Yes. Fill the emptiness in me with something to do. Yes.
I'm sorry, Widow Clark, but there's nothing for you to do. Everything's being taken care of in the proper manner. Sorry, Widow Clark, there's nothing for you to do.
Nothing for me to do. Nothing for me. nothing for me.
Navy blockade them. You are to naval battle, submarine, army, navy, army, navy.
But nothing for me. War means something to those who have something to live for, to fight for. But when you have nothing... Empty days after empty nights. Over again, and again I began to think. No end to it until there is an end to me. Why not? Walk into the sea. Let the sea fill my emptiness. Cover my loneliness. Why not? Why not? I left the house and walked toward the sea. The sand crushed beneath my feet the way it did that night. That night he ran with me. The water was dark. I was at the edge and into it. Deeper and deeper into it. Cold against me. Cold as the days and nights. But this coldness would end, and with that ending put a finish to the ache in me. And then something touched me. I looked down, white in the water. A hand. John. The thought echoing in my head, and then no. A stranger. Someone. I dragged him out of the water to the beach. A stranger drowned in the sea. Dead, yes. But no. My ear against the wet of him. His heart, yes. The beat of it. Faint, but the beat of it. Dragged him, carried him to the house, warmed him, hour after hour, and slowly the beat lifted with the blood in him. Stronger and stronger. Morning. He opened his eyes. In the first light of the sun, I saw they were blue. As blue as John's had been.
Mother.
His first words, what?
Mother.
Who? I ran to where I'd thrown the clothes, the buttons, words on them. He was the enemy. The enemy. I knew what I had to do. Go down to the village. Say, listen, everybody! A man from an enemy boat. Caught him. Come and get him. An enemy. Come and get him. I went back to where he lay. He was sleeping now. Sleeping. I looked at him. Something twisted in my heart. He slept the way John slept that night. Head in the crook of his arm. Sandy hair curling down on a forehead, smooth and brown. He slept that night. Listen, everybody! An enemy! Yes, I must tell them. I must. He slept. Woke for a few hours, then slept again. Let him sleep, I told myself. There'll be time to tell them tomorrow. But I didn't tell them tomorrow. He was sick. I had to make him well. Then I would tell them. How many days went? I don't remember. All I remember is moments.
Bart.
What did you say?
Bart.
No. That's a bird. Bird.
Bird.
That's very good. Pretty bird.
Pretty bird. Pretty bird.
So I began to teach him how to speak my language.
I, you, me.
Why not?
Water,
I wanted him to speak the way I did.
Day, night.
In the prison camp, it would help him to know our language. So I taught him.
Sleep. I am Carl. I am Carl. I am Carl.
Good. Good. Now try something else.
I am Carl. You are...
Celia. Say, how do you do, Celia?
How are you do, Celia?
No. How do you do?
How do you do, Celia? I am Carl. I am Carl.
Soon he was well enough to be up and about. I gave him a suit of John's to wear. He would sit in the window looking out at the sea, and I would work. And listen to him. It was good. It was good to know that someone was there. Suddenly, I realized something. I wasn't lonely anymore. Not lonely. Can you understand what that means? To have had nothing and then to have something. Someone to talk to listen to laugh with,
Naval battles, submarine, army, navy, army, navy, army, navy.
But I had to tell them I had to. Had to? And then I began to ask myself why. What had I to do with war? What had I to do with enemies?
Sorry, Widow Clark. There's nothing for you to do. Everything's been taken care of in the proper manner. Sorry, Widow Clark. There's nothing for you to do.
Celia, you are very good to me.
He was no enemy to me. Just Carl. And his eyes were blue. And his face was gentle. And when he smiled, his lips... No. How could I tell him? And then... it happened.
Celia, who is there?
I don't know. No one ever comes up here.
You must answer.
Hide.
No, trouble. The police. They'll take you.
Hide, I tell you, quickly.
The National Broadcasting Company presents Radio City Playhouse, Attraction 30. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the director of Radio City Playhouse, Harry W. Junkin.
Thank you, Bob Warren. Friends, before we bring you tonight's story, we should like to remind you that the Red Cross reaches into every community in the country in tackling its day-to-day job of service to humanity. As Americans, we are the Red Cross, because the Red Cross in action is America in action. The job for 1949 is tremendous, and $60 million are needed. We respectfully urge you to give generously. It is through the Red Cross that each one of us can give something of our own plenty to those who are sick, hungry, homeless, and frequently hopeless. And now here is tonight's play. True, we think to the Radio City Playhouse tradition of a good story expertly told. Blind Vengeance by George Bellack, starring John Larkin as Emmett with Elspeth Eric as Helen. Attraction 30 on Radio City Playhouse.
I can't imagine what they might be, but I suppose there are worse things than being blind. Maybe one of those things is death. Maybe death is worse than blindness. I don't know. When you can see, there are a lot of little things you take for granted. Striking a match and bringing it unwaveringly to the tip of your cigarette. Buttering a crust of bread neatly. Eating soup without spluttering it all over everything. But when you're blind, you know you're being sloppy and you wish you weren't, but... oh, well, you wouldn't be expected to know. I was 30 when it happened, and I did everything rather well. Rode, skied, drove. I loved driving. I loved long, sleek, expensive, fast cars. It's a wonderful feeling doing 70 in a good car on a smooth road, especially when your wife's beside you.
Emmett, darling, please, that's too fast.
Helen.
Well, it is. I don't like it. It makes me nervous.
Now, you leave it to Emmett, boy. Steady as the Rock of Gibraltar.
Slow down.
You know, that center line reminds me of adhesive tape unwinding from an endless white road.
I think it's smart aleck stuff, and I don't like it.
Oh, Helen, for Pete's sake, stop being stuffy. Cars like this are made for speed.
Crazy to take chances like this. I'm asking you, please. Emmett! Emmett!
how to drive. How crazy can a man be? All right, Mr. Graves, take it easy.
Oh, it's killing. It's killing.
You'll be all right.
It's like a knife. What is it? What? Helen.
Your wife's all right now. Take it easy.
Who are you?
You're all right.
What happened?
You had an accident in your car.
Where am I?
In the hospital. I'm Dr. Summers. You're in the hospital and you're safe, and your wife's right next door. Now take it easy.
Oh.
Another half grain of morphine now. Now, just relax, Mr. Graves. You had a bad accident. You're very lucky to be alive.
Doctor, my eyes. Why are they... Take these bandages off.
Now, Mr. Graves.
Take them off. You hear me? Take them off.
Please, Mr. Graves. Hypodermic nurse. Yes, sir. Now, this will just sting for a second, just for a second.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing?
Just to quiet your nerves.
Why are my eyes bandaged?
Relax. That's it. Easy. There you are, the last of the bandages.
But I can't even tell anything. Whether it's light or dark. Not anything.
Well, Mr. Graves, it needn't be such a tremendous handicap. There were thousands of men in the war who overcame it.
Not even the faintest glimmer. I was sure I'd be able to see something, a light bulb, a fire, or something.
I know it's been a terrible shock. I wish we could keep you and your wife here longer, Mr. Graves, but at the moment we're so crowded. I think we'd better go and see your wife now.
Yes, I suppose we had. It'll be as hard on her as it is on me. Worse. She'll have to live with me. Take me around.
Mr. Graves, there's something I've got to tell you. This is one of the times I almost wish I'd gone in for a career that... Mr. Graves, your wife is blind, too.
No! That's final. I will not go back to New York where everybody knows me and can feel sorry for me.
All right, Emmett. We'll go up to the cottage.
May I say something?
Certainly, Dr. Summers.
You're both intelligent people. I know how shattered you are in spirit and soul. But you've got to make a decision as to what to do with your lives. You're fortunate in having plenty of money. I don't mean to preach a sermon. Adjustment is a tiresome word, but it's important, very important.
Emmett, we could have Barnes and Mrs. Ransom go up ahead of us. Perhaps, Dr. Summers, you could arrange for somebody to drive us from here.
Of course I can.
Don't be frightened, Emmett. You've always loved the sea. We'll be all right. I know we will.
We were taught how to sign our names in a guide frame, how to go through doors. Every day a man came from the Institute for the Blind and taught us. We had a model of the house made, and we fingered it until we were perfect. We knew how many steps between every room, what furniture stood where. And we learned the 40 yards of shore so that we could stand anywhere and yet still find our way back to the house. We were taught how to sign our names. The teacher they sent us was a dull-witted chap that had bad breath. Every day a man came from the Institute for the Blind. No, I guess he was all right. I guess it was me. But when he finally stopped coming, I was glad, very glad. Helen and I used to practice when we were alone. We'd practice going up and down stairs smoothly and confidently. I'd go up, then wait for Helen. Then I'd go down and wait for her at the bottom. Then I'd go up and wait for Helen. Oh, it's a real exciting way to spend an evening.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There. I didn't touch the railing once.
Oh, you don't have to be that perfect. Everybody uses the banister when they climb stairs.
The little chair is here.
Uh-huh. Turn right and 4 steps to the big leather chair against the wall.
Small chair at the head of the stairs. 4 steps right. And the big leather one.
Everything was where it should be. Everything normal, everything just fine. Except for that small, hard kernel of fear that stuck in my chest like a lump of lead. Always just a little afraid. It wasn't a real frightening sort of fear. Just a tight little knot of dread. the days dragged on, I began to hear things I'd never heard before. Mrs. Ransom, our cook, would make a noise in the kitchen, and I'd hear it from the bedroom. Or Barnes, our chauffeur handyman, would be in swimming, and I'd hear him over the sound of the surf. I would strain to absorb the sound, absorb it with my skin, my hands, the soles of my feet. Helen didn't feel as nervous as I did. I'd lose my bearings for a few seconds, lose my sense of direction, and I'd panic. Just stand still and clench my fists and shake. And that's the way I was the first time it happened. Helen had gone down to the beach with Barnes. Mrs. Ransom was off to get our milk from a neighbor. I was alone in the house. I walked into my bedroom, and right at the door I knew something was wrong. I walked in and stood in the middle of the room. The skin in my arms turned hot and cold, and a column of ice formed along my spine. I strained. I ached to hear, to sense, to feel. And then I knew someone was in the room with me. Who is it? I can hear you. I know you're there. What's that noise? Well, say something. Say something. Look, I'm blind. I can't see you. It's very frightening not to know and... Well, just don't stand there staring at me. Say something, dear God. Don't you understand? I'm blind. I know you're there. Say something! I got to get out of here. Helen! Helen! Mrs. Ransom! Mrs. Ransom, help me! Somebody help me! Helen! Helen!
But, darling, who on earth could have got into the house and up into your bedroom?
I know someone was there. I know it.
It was your imagination, darling. Now be sensible. It just couldn't happen.
Who is it?
It's Mrs. Ransom, Mr. Graves.
Come in.
I was just wondering if you'd like
You
to
said
have...
you were going after the milk.
Well, I did, Mr. Graves.
Then how are you back so soon?
Mr. Patterson passed me on the road, Mr. Graves. He gave me a lift back.
Well, why didn't you say so?
I'm sorry, Mr.
That's
Graves.
all right, Mrs. Ransom. What was it you wanted?
I wondered if you'd like a custard for dessert. The milk's lovely and fresh.
Custard would be very nice, Mrs. Ransom. Thank you.
That's all, Mrs. Ransom.
Yes, Mr. Graves. Supper won't be long.
Could have been her. It could have been anybody. Did Barnes leave you at any time when you were on the beach?
He swam over to the point while I lay in the sun.
Do you think he came back to the house?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm so edgy. For Pete's sakes, let's have a drink.
No, let's not.
Why? What's the matter with you?
I don't enjoy drinking when I can't see the glass and sort of... Anyway, I don't think it's a good idea.
Are we getting a little saintly? We used to be the sops of 81st Street.
Well, you suit yourself. I'm going to clean up for dinner.
I started then to think about killing myself. I wondered what it would be like. Would it be quiet and serene and... Or would it be... Well, I started to think about it. I'd even suggested it to Helen. She was very annoyed and very upset. She said there was always hope. That there were things like Brahms and Toscanini, and fresh air and birds and holding each other's hand. She made me feel ashamed for ever thinking that suicide could be a part of people who love each other and who are normal. One day, Dr. Summers came to visit us. We were very glad to see him. We thought there might still be a chance that... Well, we were very glad to see him. He was always very cheerful.
I think you're both looking splendid. Splendid.
Thank you, Doctor. Sarah, it'll be nice of you to drop in on us.
Well, I hope to come more frequently. My sister's bought a place up the way a bit.
You mean we'll be neighbors?
Well, not quite neighbors. It's the old Harlington house, the big white one with the red roof.
Oh, it's an enchanting house. You'll love it. I used to play in it as a child.
Dr. Summers.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible for a blind person to go into a room and think he hears some person in it when it's really empty?
I think it's not only possible, I think it's liable to be frequent.
Emmett had a very unfortunate experience. He thought he heard somebody in his bedroom one time.
I know I heard somebody.
Of course you did. You're all keyed up to hear something, and your brain accommodated you.
You mean I've too much imagination?
Yes, you have. There's nothing unbalanced about it.
Well, it's terrifying.
Of course it is. Your mind reaches out and grasps at shadows. The shadows can't be held, can't be distinguished, and it is frightening. Don't let experiences like this upset you. You'll get over them in time.
There was somebody in that room.
Darling, why don't we just forget all about it?
Excellent idea. Everybody is blind in one way or another.
Is everybody unbalanced, too?
I think so. In one way or another.
That night after Dr. Summers left was the first night I had to talk myself to sleep. I was afraid to get up and get a sleeping powder. I was afraid I might take the wrong thing and make myself sick. I didn't want to wake Helen. It seemed churlish to wake Mrs. Ransom of Barnes. So I talked to myself. Not loud. Low and softly. Nobody could hear me. Helen slept in the next room. When I talked to myself, it shut out the disturbing sounds. All the millions and millions of other sounds. The night, the sea, the crickets. I never knew there were so many sounds. To try to keep the sounds out, I'd lie on my back and gently rub my chest with both hands from side to side, and I'd talk very softly. Nothing but the night. Alone. It's cool. Good night to sleep. Good night to sleep. What's that? Helen? Is there someone? Whoever you are, you're at the window. I'm going to get out of bed and come over. If you want to kill me, why, this is your chance. It's the blind. It's the blind. It's just the Venetian blind. Dear God, am I going crazy? I couldn't go back to bed. I felt for my robe, my slippers. I gripped the wall and walked carefully to the door of my room. My hand glided over the chair, the bureau, felt the open door. I walked the 10 steps to the big leather chair, then 4 more to the top of the stairs. I made the left turn, and suddenly there was nothing there. No wall, no banister, no small chair, just space. And though it seemed like a million years, I balanced on the edge of a knife, my arms beating the air uselessly. And then, like a lump of clay, I fell. Ah! Helen! Helen! Helen, help me!
Emmett! Emmett, where are you?
Here, I fell. Over here, the stairs. I'm halfway down the stairs.
Oh, my darling, what happened? What are you doing out of bed like this? Barnes! Darling, are you hurt?
I fell. I fell.
Are you all right?
My side.
Darling, you shouldn't get up at night all by yourself.
Help me up.
Barnes!
I'm coming, Mrs. Graves.
Something's gone. Something's holding me. For God's sakes, what's holding me?
What is it, Mrs. Graves? What's happened? But, Mr. Graves, are you hurt? What is it?
Help him. Get him upstairs.
Oh, the belt of his robe got tangled in the railing.
Oh.
Yeah, there. Now, lean on me, Mr. Graves. Are you all right?
No, don't lift me up. Just let me sit here a minute. Helen, sit here with me, please.
Is there anything on the stairs, Barnes?
No, Mrs. Graves.
All right, you can go back to your room.
Are you sure there's...
You heard what she said. That's what you paid for to do as you're told. Now go back to your room.
He doesn't mean it, Barnes. Please, go back to your room. If I need you, I'll call you.
Okay, Mrs. Graves. If you want me, just shout. I won't go to sleep until you tap on my door.
Thank you, Barnes. Emmett, what happened? Darling, you're shaking like a leaf.
I thought I heard somebody at the window, and I got up. It was the Venetian blind slapping against the sill. I thought I'd come downstairs for a while. I got to the head of the stairs, and I fell.
Are you all right?
My ribs, hurts me to breathe. I think I hit my side when I fell. Oh, Helen, I'm so afraid. I might have been killed.
Now, there, now. Please, let's go back up and get you to bed. I'll bring you a glass of milk.
Helen.
What?
I've got it. I've got it now.
Got what?
Somebody moved the chair.
Somebody what?
Help me up, quickly.
What is it, Emmett?
Help me up. Can't you understand English?
Yes, dear, I can understand English. Hang on to the rail. All right?
Yes. Yes, I'm all right.
What do you mean somebody moved the chair?
I've got to feel it. To feel it. To know that... Well, where is it?
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
Where's the chair? Where's the little straight-back chair that we feel every time we start downstairs and every time we get to the top? Where is it?
Well, it must be someplace.
It isn't here. Do you understand? It isn't here.
Emmett!
Somebody's trying to kill us. Trying to kill us. Do you hear?
I'm going to call Dr. Summers.
It's a good thing he didn't fall all the way down.
Is he all right, Doctor?
Of course I'm all right.
You've no broken bones, but you're covered with bruises.
Somebody moved that chair. At least Emmett thinks that... Well, it isn't there now anyway.
What chair?
Well, there's supposed to be a small straight-back chair right at the top of the stairs. We touch it every time we start down, and then we always know that when we feel it on the way up, there's only one step left.
The little chair with the plaid seat?
Yes.
I can see it from here.
You what?
Yes, a little straight-back chair with a plaid seat.
You're lying. You're trying to trick me.
Mr. Graves, I can see a plaid chair from where I'm standing in this room. It's at the head of the stairs against the railing. I'm not used to being called a liar. I realize you're upset, but I'd appreciate it if you'd remember your manners. Good night.
Emmett, I can't stand this. You've got to get a grip on yourself.
But you couldn't feel it.
You must have pushed it out of the way when you fell.
I didn't.
Why did you leave your room in the first
Oh,
place?
I wish I could kill myself. Even if I went to hell, I wish... This is hell. Right now, it's hell.
Emmett, I'm upset, too. Now, please don't talk that way. You've just got to get hold of yourself, darling. We can't go on like this if you're going to be hysterical and imagine...
Look, I'm telling you that somebody moved that chair. Either Mrs. Ransom or Barnes. Somebody's trying to murder me.
Emmett.
Deliberately or accidentally, one of them moved it.
Good night, Emmett. I'll see you in the morning. Try to sleep as late as you can.
Helen, don't go. Don't go. I was alone again, back in bed. Alone with the noises. Only this time it hurt to rub my chest. The shadows crept in like 1,000 visions that can't quite be seen. I was on a horse, galloping under the skies. I could see Helen as she used to be. Lovely, gay, gentle, tender. And then everything seemed to come together and go round and round and round. And away at the back of everything came the blackness of sleep. Closer and closer and closer and closer. A couple of weeks went by, and gradually the pain went out of my ribs, and I began to forget. Helen and I walked by the sea every morning before breakfast. It began to be good to be alive. We were learning Braille. A whole new world of reading started to unfold to us. And then, one night, it all came back in a sickening, ghastly rush. I'd been asleep for hours, and suddenly I was awake. The hair began to stand up on the back of my neck. A noise had wakened me. A noise I hadn't thought of for a long time, the noise of a light switch. Someone flipped the light switch in my room. I tried to sit up in bed, but my muscles wouldn't respond. I just lay there bathed in sweat. I knew there was somebody in the room, but I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. I just lay there, the words bursting at my lips, but nothing would come out. Is there somebody there? Barnes? I can hear you, Barnes. Barnes, please don't hurt me. I'm in bed. I'm helpless. I'll give you money. I've already arranged that you and Mrs. Ransom will be taken care of. You don't have to worry, Barnes. Barnes, please. Or kill me if you have to, but say something. Say something. What are you doing? What are you doing? God in heaven, help. Oh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I did hear it. Helen! Helen! I'm coming, Helen! I'm coming! Oh! I'm coming, Helen! Just a minute! Helen!
Emmett!
Darling!
Emmett, help me!
I'm here, darling. I'm here.
There, he's in that closet. I felt him. He passed me. He's in the closet. A man. Call Barnes.
Hang on to yourself. You had a gun in here once, didn't you?
I don't know. Barnes has one.
It is Barnes.
No.
Yes.
We'll do something. We can't just stand here.
Mrs. Graves.
Barnes, come here quickly.
But who if it isn't Barnes, then who's in there?
Barnes!
What is it, Mrs. Graves? Mrs. Graves, what's the matter? What is
Barnes, there's somebody in that closet. Mrs. Graves felt him go past her. He was in my room first.
Well, I'll soon find
No,
out.
Barnes, wait. Now, be careful. He may be...
Well, if there's somebody in the closet, the best way to get him out is to open the door.
What is it?
Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Graves. There's no one there. The closet's empty.
I can't stand it any longer, Emmett. Not any longer.
We can't stay outside any longer, Helen. It's cold. We'd better go back in. Barnes and Mrs. Ransom will be worried. Darling, there was nobody in the closet, and it was all our imagination. And we've had a bad shock. And... Honey, don't you understand? I've had all this, too. The chair, the hundreds of times I've thought that I was hearing things, and it's just being blind. It's just being blind. Now, come on. We've had a terrible fright, and it's late. And we can't sit out here all night.
How high have we come?
Oh, we've come too high. We just passed the end of the rear wall. We shouldn't go any farther.
Go to the top. What difference does it make if we do fall over? Maybe it would be best to fall over and down and end it all together.
Helen.
Why not? Why not just end it now, easily, quickly, together?
Stop it.
I just can't stand it. I just can't stand being blind. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I'll never adjust, never, as long as I live.
Helen, it'll be all right. Darling, I know what you're feeling. I felt it. I'm uncoiling somehow. It's going to be better now. But this is a stage we both go through. I went through it first.
I could jump from here. This would be high enough. Must be 100 feet down, even from here. Would the sea be very cold now?
Helen, stop it. Let's get down out of here.
Would the rocks be hard enough to kill me from here?
Helen, stand up.
All right.
Here. Now, take my arm.
Yes, Emmett.
Now.
It's a lovely night. There's a cloud over the moon, and the sea is very black. But every once in a while, a star catches it, and it's lovely.
What did you say?
You look very silly in that coat.
You...
And rather stupid. When you relax your face, it looks idiotic a little. Not much, but a little. And even from here, I can see your beard, stubby and dirty.
Dear God, what's happening?
I can see, Emmett. I've been able to for some time now, for about 6 weeks.
Then you...
I switched the chair. I was in your room. I rushed back to my own and screamed because I hate you.
Helen.
You made me blind, and you made my face a twisted, horrible mask.
No.
The scars are blue, Emmett. They're pale blue and purple, and they're all over my face and neck.
Helen, no.
You did that. You and your slick, fast, expensive automobile and your puling, stupid, smart aleck little mind. You were showing off at 70 miles an hour.
Oh.
I was hoping you'd jump off here yourself or cut your throat or turn on the gas in the kitchen, anything.
Helen, keep away
It'll
from me.
only take a moment.
Helen, don't touch me, Helen.
Go right on the edge now, Emmett. If you move so much as 6 inches, you'll fall over.
Helen, no.
So I'm just going to reach
Helen,
out.
Helen, don't. Let go, Helen, let go.
Emmett!
We must have been very near the edge. She fell all the way, right down to the rocks. I slipped, stumbled, but managed to keep my balance. I sat there all night, wondering what she looked like down there. All broken and... Barnes found me the next morning. I told him I pushed her, and why I pushed her. But they don't believe me. Dr. Summers feels I should be kept here, in this sanitarium, they call it. He doesn't believe me. But you believe me, don't you?
You have just heard Blind Vengeance, Attraction 30 on Radio City Playhouse, as written by George Billack and directed by Harry W. Junkin. Emmett was John Larkin. Helen was Elspeth Eric. Other players included Paul Nugent, Leora Thatcher, and Lee Nelson. The music was composed and conducted by Dr. Roy Shields. Radio City Playhouse is supervised for the National Broadcasting Company by Richard P. McDonough.
This is Harry Junkin again. Our sincere thanks to John Larkin and Elspeth Eric for a truly memorable performance. Please join us next week for another exciting story on Radio City Playhouse. Good night, everybody.
Bob Warren speaking. This is NBC, the National Broadcasting Company.
Are you burned up at the high price of turkeys? Can't get eggs for your pumpkin pie? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape.
You're trapped in a remote valley of the Andes, walled in by sheer rock precipices, and surrounding you, closing in on you, is a band of blind men who want your eyes.
Escape, produced and directed by William N. Robeson and carefully plotted to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Tonight, we escape to the high mountains of Ecuador and to a remarkable world where sight is unknown, as H.G. Wells imagined it in his curious story, The Country of the Blind.
My name is Ibarra. I am a mining engineer in Quito, Ecuador, high in the towering Andes. And up until a year ago, my chief sport was mountain climbing. My last climb was an attempt to scale the remote and forbidding peak of Pariscotopetl, a 20,000-foot crag unconquered by man. It is unconquered still. 3,000 feet from the icy summit, our party turned back and fled for their lives. All of us escaped except one, a guide named Nunez, who slipped and fell over the precipice, disappearing into the vast chasm that yawned 10,000 feet beneath us. The horror of that man's fall has haunted my dreams for a year. Because of it, I have forsaken mountain climbing for the rest of my life. And that decision still stands, even though today I have seen Nunez. He was sitting on the steps of my shack when I arrived at the mine this morning. At first I didn't recognize him. He was so much changed. I thought he was a ragged beggar asking alms.
Is it you, Senor Ibarra?
My name is Ibarra, yes. What do you want?
You do not know me, senor.
I know. You look like a man I knew once, but he is...
Dead? Dead on the slopes of Pariscotopetl?
Nunez. No, it couldn't be you.
Nunez. That is my name, senor. At least that is the name I remember.
But you fell. I saw you fall.
Yes.
It's impossible that you could have lived.
Perhaps the gods of the mountain had some reason to spare me.
Nunes, if we'd had any idea that you were alive, but you went down thousands of feet. We couldn't even attempt to find your body.
I know. I do not blame you. You could not have reached me. And if you had, I should not have welcomed you at first. But then later.
What do you mean, Nunes?
Senor, you will not believe what I have to tell.
I can hardly believe that I'm seeing you, talking to you. But what has happened to you?
You remember that night, the night I fell?
Yes.
We had been toiling all day, inching our way up a steep ice wall. And as darkness came, we found a narrow ledge, barely 3 feet wide.
It's not very wide, but we can get our shoulder wall up, cut off some of this wind.
Hal, that'll be welcome.
Yes, but first we'll rest a moment.
Look at that icy devil up there, glistening in the moonlight.
There's another 3,000 feet of sheer ice wall to the top.
Well, I can see why no one's ever made it. Think we should go on?
I don't know. Nunes, what do you think?
It is not my place to say, senor. I was hired to guide you to the top. I agreed.
What do you really think?
If I believed in the gods of the mountain, as the Indians do, I should be frightened now.
Why?
Because we have invaded the Forbidden Circle. This part of the Andes is unmapped and unknown, senor.
And therefore shrouded in superstition, eh?
It is an easy thing to believe strange things in this white loneliness.
Some of the legends are really fascinating. I've heard of one, something about a hidden valley called the Country of the Blind.
Yes. It is supposed to be somewhere down there below us. A fertile valley which was settled many centuries ago, and then cut off by the great landslide of Arauca.
But why the Country of the Blind?
Well, even before it was isolated, the people developed a strange illness. All of them slowly went blind. After that, their children were born blind. And the legend is that the valley was the home of the mountain gods. It was too beautiful for human eyes.
It's odd. Well, it's all nonsense.
Yes, of course.
Would be pleasant to find it, though. You know the old proverb, in the country of the blind, the one-eyed man is king?
I doubt that we could ever find it. I even doubt if it exists.
Of course not. I was only joking.
Yes. Well, now if you're arrested, we'll make the shelter wall.
Right. I'll give you a hand in a minute. Believe me, Ibarra, for 2 pesos, I'd give up this climb. I never realized
Senors, I'm slipping!
Hang on! Nunes! Nunes!
In one horrible instant, my foot had slipped on the treacherous ledge and I'd gone over, falling far out into the icy black night, falling down, down. I fell perhaps 1,000 feet. Then I felt a heavy stinging impact of snow. I'd fallen on an almost perpendicular snow slope. And now I was sliding, down, down, tumbling over and over. And then suddenly I realized that my own motion had almost stopped. And it was the snow that was moving. I was riding an avalanche. At almost the same moment, I went over the second precipice. It was higher than the first, much higher, perhaps 4,000 feet. I fell with the snow for what seemed minutes, every second expecting the terrible final impact. But the impact never came. Miracle of miracles, that sheer wall blended almost imperceptibly into another steep snow slope. And again I was sliding. Gradually, as the arc of the slope curved away, I felt myself slow down. And finally I rolled to a stop and lay still. When I awoke, it was morning, and I was covered with snow. I shook off the cold white blanket on my chest and rested a moment. And then I rolled over on my back and looked up. My heart almost stopped as I saw from where I'd fallen. Why, the mountain towered 10,000 feet above me. Then carefully I felt of myself. My clothes were torn. I was bruised and bleeding. I ached in every muscle, but I had not a single broken bone. I lay there and offered up a prayer to the gods of the mountain. Far below me, lay a lush valley sparkling in the morning sunlight. I could see the stately trees and the green meadows fresh with dew. I started down the mountain, but it was still an arduous descent. The farther down I got, the more I realized the beauty of the scene. Why, this was a hidden paradise I'd fallen into, and I was the first man ever to see it. So I thought, but I was wrong. I realized that first when I saw the cultivation in the meadows, and then the walks, well-kept stone walks laid in a symmetrical pattern all over the valley. And then I saw them. There were men and women lying under the trees and resting in the fields. Nearby, a collection of windowless huts marked a village, and the plastering of the houses was done in a wild variety of colors. I thought to myself, the plasterer who did that must have been blind as a bat. Then I saw two of the men quite close to me. They were standing on a bridge over the little stream. They were dressed in odd, loose clothing, and there was a strange look about their faces. They failed to notice me as I approached until I shouted. Suddenly they looked up attentively in my direction. I waved wildly at them, but they took no notice. Why, the fools must be blind. Blind? Could it be that I have fallen into the country of the blind? In the country of the blind, a one-eyed man can be king. Hello there. You needn't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I come in peace.
It is a man, or a spirit come down from the rocks.
Oh, I'm a man, all right. Just like you, but I've had a miraculous escape, and now I find myself here in your valley.
Valley? Valley? Come hither. Let me feel of you.
Yes, certainly. Here, my arm. Is my face? You see, I am a man, like yourself. Here, feel my lips. They move with speech. Oh, careful there. Gently, those are my eyes.
Eyes? Eyes? That is strange. Feel this chorea.
Yes, I feel.
Careful. Feel the eyelids flutter?
He is but imperfectly formed. Some strange bulge there. Unseemly.
No. You see, your eyes are shrunken in, but mine are whole. I can see.
See? Pedro, he is a strange wild one. Where does he come from?
He must have come down out of the rock.
No, from over the mountains, out of the country beyond there where men can see. From Bogota, where there are 100,000 people and a city stretches out of sight.
Sight?